Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday, April the 5th, 2018. Welcome back to another Technical Alpha podcast. Let me tell you, there's no... Rex, please. Let me tell you, there is nothing quite like feeling like you haven't slept in 5 days despite the fact that you had a perfectly good night's sleep. Virtually nothing wrong with the amount of hours or anything, but you wake up and it just feels like you never slept at all, and then the rest of the day you were in a fog. But hey, sometime maybe this is my body preparing me for fatherhood. Maybe this is just every day as a father. You're just, especially with a toddler, you're just dead all the time. You never sleep, or you at least feel like you never sleep. Maybe that's my body preparing me now. I feel like since I'm definitely still years away from that happening, my body could fuck right off and just actually allow me to sleep. Would be great. Mr. Black, I see I haven't changed the camera over yet, so your wardrobe changes have gone unnoticed. Are we settled in? Do we have?
We're good.
We're good.
We're good.
All right. Okay. All right. Let me just change on over here. There it is. Patch notes. What do I want the patch notes to be this week? I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make the patch notes this week.
People even look at that shit.
No. That's why I stopped
put in
doing
something
it.
random.
That's why I've been dude. I've been doing that for weeks.
Oh, okay.
Complete nonsense has gone in there for weeks now. Like many weeks, months, in fact, many months. But yeah, I like to try and at least put something stupid in there. Because originally it was people on YouTube were like, I can't possibly comb through all of this video and find what's happening. And then Stuka started doing all the timestamps and the patch notes became obsolete. But also I just stopped caring. So I just started putting nonsense in there and it's just become its own thing. How are you doing today, Mr. Black?
I'm all right.
Yeah?
Doing all right.
Yeah? Nothing special?
Nah, well, I mean, I got my car back today and finally got the carbon fiber piece that got dinged up when I got rear-ended last year. That finally got replaced, so it's back to its glory. And I got carbon fiber air boxes put in and stuff, so I was out putzing around. That's pretty much it. Then came home, and then there was all the McGregor drama, so I was kind of getting up on that. And then it's been sitting here on the computer for the last 20 minutes waiting for this.
The dream.
Yep.
The dream. Yeah, that was interesting UFC today news with the McGregor nonsense. Quite something. I don't even know what to make of that, in all honesty. Like, all I could come up with in my mind was... obviously, we've officially hit the point where McGregor has allowed his persona, his UFC persona, to actually physically become Conor McGregor, and now here we are. Because really, who the fuck rolls up 20 guys deep and just, like, waltzes in and starts fucking shit up and throws a godforsaken, like, piece of barrier through the window of a bus full of people? Like, what the fuck? Like, what, like, the fuck? I don't understand, and it's frustrating because it's not like McGregor was like a Macaulay Culkin come up as a kid actor and had, whatever, and then all of a sudden money ruined him or whatever. We're talking about a dude who literally was, like, homeless in adulthood. He wasn't a kid. He was homeless in adulthood. So he had already, like, we skipped all of the pitfalls of the Justin Bieberdom. We've gotten past all that. He busts his ass to become a fighter, which is definitely different, regardless of how famous you are, than being like a singer. A lot more physicality involved in being a UFC fighter, and you have to have like a certain head for it. Gets in, dominates, makes stupid money fighting a 55,000-year-old dinosaur in the boxing ring, getting his shit pumped. And then all of a sudden, right before he could be on his comeback and like The hype train keeps going. He shows up not by himself like a weird WWE shoot in the back with like, you know, Kane going out and throwing Rey Mysterio into the side of a fucking trailer. He just comes up with like 20, 30 dudes and starts fucking shit up. Why? Why? I mean, seriously. And then he goes on Twitter. He's like, you know, he has to type in his Irish isms. He can't just fucking like type normally. Fook and fucking how many friggin' apostrophes he can squeeze into a single word as humanly possible. And he's like, you're gonna fook and do nothing. You're just gonna keep going because you need my shit. And so I'm gonna go around and run around like a fuckboy and do whatever I want and ruin my entire career. Because you know he's getting sued.
Oh yeah.
There were as many cameras that recorded that shit as his last fight. that is getting hit by every angle, every piece of audio that could possibly ever be required in video. He is going to get reamed in that fucking courtroom, and all of the shit that he busted his ass for is just going to get dragged out of him in a godforsaken court. For what? I still don't know. What do you think the motive behind this was, other than cocaine is a hell of a drug? What the fuck was going through his mind?
Well, what happened is his buddy Artem, who is like super loyal with him, he's fighting on the card, or was now. He was fighting on the card, and Khabib, who is fighting Max Holloway for the belt, has a rivalry with Conor, and his entourage, like the people sort of in his camp. It's like camp versus camp type thing. And Conor wasn't in the city. He wasn't in Brooklyn or anything like that. Probably out in Vegas or in California or some shit. And yesterday, Artem, who once again is Conor's buddy, got rolled up on by Khabib and his posse. And Khabib basically went up to him, put his hand on sort of his neck and kind of talked to him like kind of sunned him, like was, you know, intimidated him, kind of was, I don't know what was said. Gave him one of those like little cheeky slaps on the face, like not like an actual bitch slap, but like, you know, come on, like
was this the Italian mafia? Like what the hell? Like,
essentially, I mean, you know,
I'm gonna make you an offer you can't refuse.
Pretty much, right? The Russian mob. So anyway, he had a stern talking, and Artem didn't do anything because it was just like him and one other guy, and there was like Khabib and his team. And then, you know, Conor got wind of this, obviously, and nothing major really happened. It was just like a stern talking. Like there was nothing crazy. There was no fist being thrown.
It was probably like a line was crossed, but nothing was he shouldn't have done. It shouldn't have happened. But it wasn't. It wasn't like he literally just got Tupac'd in the middle of the fucking Vegas Strip. Yeah. Shit wasn't that real. Yeah.
So Conor flew in, took his jet, flew in, and so
pack up the jet, boys.
Pack up the jet, boys, and bring the 20 goons. We're going in. But basically, so Conor McGregor has this whole thing called the Mac Life, where he documents everything he does all the time. And there was two guys from the Mac Life that were actually there recording with Artem, because Artem's part of McGregor's camp.
Right.
So they're in there recording and shit. So Conor talked to the Mac Life guys and went to the back of the stadium or whatever, and the Mac guys snuck them in, basically opened the doors and let in Conor and his goons. That's how he got in. And they made it so that they let him in as all the UFC fighters were doing their media for the day, and they were loading up on buses to get ready to go back to the hotel. So Conor and his goons came in just as everybody was out. Khabib was on the bus. They were mouthing off at each other. That was when Conor picked up, I think it was like a garbage can, threw it at the front windshield.
It was a piece of...
picked up...
there's two things.
There's three.
Three. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he threw something. It smashed the front windshield.
Okay.
Everybody was like, you know, close, get us out of here, get us out of here. And people were scared because there was like 20 guys, which looked to be trying to get on a bus. They didn't even know it was Conor at the beginning. And then they realized it was Conor when he ran across the front of the bus. Like, what the fuck? That's Conor McGregor. And then he grabbed like one of those bike racks, like those big metal things. Tried to throw it, but one of the guys that works at UFC stopped it. Ended up breaking his knuckles. And the guy, one of the security guys, like broke his knuckles or something off the bar. And then Conor ran, grabbed a metal dolly, and then threw it through a windshield of, or not the windshield, but like a side
window. Yeah.
Smashed the side window. Glass hits one of the UFC fighters. He gets cut up all in his face. And then everybody's going crazy. And, Khabib's team's like, I'm going to fucking kill you. You're fucking dead. And people were like, call the ambulance, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's going crazy.
Oh, my God.
And then Conor gets kicked out and peels off. And then there's like a warrant for his arrest. His jet is not allowed to leave. All kinds of fucking going on. He's just an idiot. Like, I don't know what would,
the fuck
I mean,
is he thinking?
Well, he's not thinking. I think he's upset that, for one, what happened to his boy. Understandably so, but you don't do this. Like, and even if he was trying to hype up a potential fight with Khabib, which everybody knows he's scared to fight Khabib because Khabib would kill him. I think what it is, he's been out of the spotlight. He's losing some of his some of his fame, so to speak, or his relevancy, because he hasn't fought in over 500 days. He's never defended a belt ever. He's had 4 belts in total, 2 in the UFC and like 2 in another organization. He's never ever defended a belt ever. People were giving him a bad time. He's out there making Burger King commercials, and so I think he went in to make a scene, and then I think when he probably saw Khabib and his team and they're mouthing off, he probably just lost control, and what probably was going to be a publicity thing to kind of steal some of the thunder, create some hype, turned into criminal shit. Dumbass shit. Women are on the bus. Half of the roster for the UFC was on the bus for the fight in two nights from now. So you put the card in jeopardy. It's just dumb. It was just dumb. So anyway, I've been
he's
entertaining myself with all the drama.
He's gonna get so fucked in the ass in the courtroom, dude. Oh, it's gonna be bad. And some judge is looking for it too, because he's a smack talker, big mouth, right? So like, and that's what he's known for. So some judge who just doesn't give a fuck about the UFC or whatever kind of like shenanigan, persona he's been putting on there. He no time for it. Is gonna catch wind. If it's a female judge, now he's double fucked.
Yep.
And he's just gonna lose. He's gonna lose a lot of the money that he earned with relative ease in the ring with Floyd Mayweather.
Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens. It'll be interesting in the next.
Does he ever fight in the UFC again?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. Artem won't, but Artem's fight got canceled. Dana's super pissed. He did like a 7-minute interview.
I saw that sitting out back or whatever. Like,
he's extra He's extra salty.
Can you blame him for?
No, I mean the pay-per-view is probably going to sell more now.
I guess
for this Saturday. I mean it's such a good card, man. Holy shit!
It legitimately I'm not joking. When I heard this and I saw the video, I thought I was watching a fucking WWE shoot. Like, it looked like a backstage. How many times have we seen somebody throw, like, some shit at a bus or a limousine, or, like, somebody's getting put through a window or some shit out back, and it's like, oh, God, way in the middle of the match, and holy shit, look what's going on back here, and all of a sudden, Conor McGregor fucking, like, runs across.
It's Conor McGregor!
He's got a chair! He's got a chair!
He's got a chair! Oh, my God! It went through the windshield!
He broke him in half! Like, that's is basically what I felt like I was watching.
Except that it was real.
Yeah, exactly.
Except that it was real. We watched someone go full retard, and now he's going to lose a shit ton of money. He's going to be fined up the waz, probably going to get suspended. And, but if he ever gets the balls to fight Khabib at Madison Square Garden come November, it's going to sell 2 million pay-per-views, and it'll be fucking nuts. I mean, just the rivalry will be thick.
Is Khabib really going to dummy him?
Oh, yeah. Dummy him.
Any particular reason why Khabib dummies him other than just saying he's flat out better? Like, is there some reason why he's...
Because Khabib is, he's just a wrestling god. Like, he ground and pounds everybody. He's 25-0. He's
So he's going to get rid of Conor's stand up and then just beat the shit out of him on the ground.
Yeah, he's going to take him down. He's going to take
Okay.
him down and wear him down. And Conor's got a puncher's, like, I wouldn't say a puncher's chance, because Conor's a great fighter. Conor can knock him out for sure.
Yeah.
But Khabib isn't stupid, and he's going to take him down. He's going to wear him down. And Conor has always been a 3-round fighter, and Khabib will grind you 5 rounds and kill you. Like, it's just, you know, he as a kid, he used to wrestle bears, straight up.
This guy wouldn't happen to be Russian.
He is Russian.
Okay, well, there you go.
So
that last sentence in any other context makes no sense, but all you have to do is say he's Russian, and all of a sudden, wrestling bears suddenly makes sense.
Yeah, and he was like born in like the mountains of like some place, and he's just he's
is
never lost.
Is this Ivan Drago? Are we gonna get like a fucking like Rocky training montage?
Dude, remember when you're like the mob and you're like some stern talking? That's literally
what it was.
That's literally what it was. It was like, you know, he's like, you listen here, all right? You don't fucking pull that shit, motherfucker. And Artem's like, yes sir, yes sir.
So what?
And then Conor was like, this fucking guy.
So did he actually do Artem? Is his name Artem?
Yeah.
Okay,
Artem.
so did he actually do something to warrant this in any way, or was this completely random?
I think they're just mouthing each other off, like in the halls and shit. There's just beef between the two camps. So, but yeah,
God.
I mean, Khabib is crazy. He's gonna win a belt this weekend. Likely. I mean, he's fighting Max Holloway, who's also a belt holder, but he's on a 6-day notice because the guy Khabib was supposed to fight, Tony Ferguson, got injured at Fox, tripped over a wire that, like, you know, wires that you're taped on the ground, tripped on that.
Oh,
and
somebody got fired 3 times for that.
And just got, Ferguson's also an idiot. He's notorious for wearing sunglasses in everywhere he goes. So,
so he didn't see the wire?
He didn't see it. And tripped and blew out his knee completely. Needs surgery.
World-class fighter gets taken out by a fucking wire on the ground because he's wearing sunglasses inside.
Pretty much.
Pretty good.
Much. So
good.
Max Holloway comes in, saves the day. Conor was going to come in probably to watch the fight and create some hype, but everybody knows he's afraid to fight Khabib. So who knows if the fight even happens? They're trying to get it to be in Russia, but. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But yeah,
that would bold move, Cotton. You take that to
Khabib,
to Russia.
And Khabib has never lost a round in training ever. So like anybody, even heavyweights, when they do rounds against each other, he's never lost a round in the history of training.
What's his weight class? What is he at again?
He's fighting at 155.
I was going to say 155 because that's where Conor was last, right?
Yeah, well, Conor is champion of 155 right now, but he's going to be stripped the moment the bell goes off.
Because he's interim, basically, right?
Well, no, Tony Ferguson's interim. Conor is the actual champion, but Conor hasn't fought in over 500 days, so he's being stripped because he just refuses to fight. So he's being stripped, and Max and Khabib are fighting for the actual belt. The likelihood is Khabib wins, and then Dana will try and get a fight, Khabib versus Conor, for the biggest pay-per-view of all time. But who knows?
The UFC is such a hot mess. It's such a hot mess. Just like I'm surprised Dana hasn't like had a heart attack or some shit yet. Honest to God, can you imagine just trying to be a part of the madness behind the scenes? Like, that's the stuff that comes out to the public. Can you imagine just the shit that doesn't come out to the public? It just must be a gong show back there. Absolute gong
this
show.
Weekend's gonna be dope, man. We got one of the best the best UFC card in a long time. And
I've never heard anyone say that before, Jeff. I'm going to be honest with you. Nobody has ever said that this is the greatest UFC card of all time. And I've certainly never heard you say it.
I didn't say of all time. I said in a long time.
Oh, in a long time. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not of all time, in a long time.
Okay.
So two really dope title fights. Some
Who's
really
fighting?
Good.
Rose is this? Is Rose this one?
Yeah, Rose and Joanna Jacek.
You want to get a new name is what I like to call her.
Yeah, you want to get a new name.
Because nobody can pronounce your last name.
So they're fighting again, which is gonna be dope. There's all kinds of dope fights that are happening on this card. So and then WrestleMania is happening on Sunday, where Ronda Rousey is making her debut. So
I forgot WrestleMania is this weekend.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be a big one.
We talked about before, but I know Ronda's going, but who gives a fuck about Ronda? That's gonna be a gong show. The real thing is the Undertaker.
Everybody gives a fuck.
But is the
about Ronda,
Undertaker
bro.
coming back to fight?
Fuck about the Undertaker.
If you're a wrestling fan, if you're a wrestling fan, you want to see Taker come back. Well, Ronda Rousey's gonna be terrible for sure. That's gonna be fun in the oh my god, what a shit show type way. I want to see Taker come back so that he doesn't have to have his last fight be against that fuckboy.
I'm sure he'll be there.
Yeah, it'll be good. Hopefully it's good. When WrestleMania is really good, it's a fucking awesome watch. When WrestleMania is bad, it is painful.
Well, because it's also like 5 hours long, so you're
exactly.
just like, fuck my life.
Exactly. In video game news, did you ever play Spyro when you were younger?
Yeah.
Okay. So Spyro, like the Crash Bandicoot thing, where they did the remaster, they're completely, or they're in the midst of completely rebuilding Spyro 1, 2, and 3 currently. So it's not just like a remaster in the sense of polishing the graphics and sending it out the door. Like the Crash Bandicoot one, they're completely rebuilding it from the ground up. So lots of people, my better half included, are crazy hyped for that shit. I only played a handful of Spyro when I was younger because I didn't have a PlayStation 1 really. Cam had one and he had Spyro, so we played like a very small amount of it, but I didn't play like a huge amount of it. But it's Spyro. It was definitely one of the PlayStation's platformer mascots that stuck around. So I'm sure it will do quite well. They have to have some amount of confidence in it to sell because it's not cheap to completely rebuild 3 old games from the ground up and ship that out. So that's. I
think there's a big enough fan base for it. So
I would say for sure.
Makes sense.
And there's definitely a bit of a. I mean, we've seen it for a while now. There's this endless want for old games to make comebacks.
I would play Spyro again, but as long as it was for the Nintendo Switch, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's probably, unfortunately, being a PlayStation exclusive,
it's not going to happen.
Probably not going to happen.
I think it would be a cool handheld.
It would definitely translate really well to a handheld for sure.
Because the way graphics are now and a remake, it would just work really great. I'm not sure I would spend $40 on the PS4 to sit down and play Spyro, but a lot of people will. So.
Oh, it's not PlayStation exclusive, apparently. It's also coming to the Xbox. All right, so everything that isn't the handheld, apparently. But maybe it does make it to Switch eventually.
You never know.
If it's not PlayStation exclusive, then I have to assume then
maybe
the Switch is also in the works, right? And if that's the case, then great. It sounds like Jeff's already lining up for it. It's on the Switch. It's
I'm not going to be lined up for it, but, if it's out and I'm feeling like a little bit of Switch action, then okay.
You give her a go.
I'll give her a
go. The Division devs, Massive Entertainment, I believe is the name of them. I don't know if it's just Massive or Massive Entertainment. I can't remember which one it is. Rumors floating around that they're considering doing a Battle Royale. Not that should shock anyone that somebody would be considering doing Battle Royale. But we aren't sure yet, based on the information that people have, as to whether or not it's going to be a part of the Division 2, as in like a game mode, like a last man standing, or if they are working on an entirely separate, property for a Battle Royale. Massive does good shit. So it's not a company that a lot of people would think about off the top of their head. Like when we sat down and we said, who would you like to do a Battle Royale game? Ain't nobody out of the three of us came up with Massive and all. And I don't think many other people would, because I don't think it's a company many people just think of. However, I would totally be like, if you did the Division third person mechanics with the cover mechanics and stuff that it has in a city thing like the Division and did a Battle Royale in that kind of environment, I think that'd be pretty dope. It would at least be different, a lot different from PUBG and Fortnite. and it's already built in a squad-based kind of way. So I think there would be room for it in that regard, for sure. I would at least be interested in it because it would be, again, more up my alley. I'm not a third-person fan necessarily, but having a tactical squad-based, more arcade simulation-y, it's a Tom Clancy game, right? Having it in that environment, in an urban environment. PUBG has heavy quotation marks, urban environments, but to have it in like an honest to goodness one, I think that'd be pretty dope.
Yeah, no,
not for you.
I'm not feeling the Division PUBG style battle royale. I don't think the whole cover system would translate well. It feels a little I find that type of gameplay feels a little like almost like runtime. It feels.
What do you mean by runtime?
It feels like it's hard to explain. It doesn't feel natural. I find covering
sticky.
Yeah, like it doesn't feel like you've got full control almost. It feels like when you go to cover, something takes over. It's like you're not actually.
It definitely does because your two options. I know what you mean.
Yeah. It just doesn't. It's cool for a game like Gears of War, kind of that's been sort of cemented on it, and the gameplay is a little bit different. And you do feel like you're in more control than what you do in Division. It almost feels like, because I played the Division, and that works in the sense of almost like a Destiny like thing where it's like PvE.
Yeah.
There is PvP in there, but it doesn't feel. I find even the PvP doesn't feel very PvP-ish. It feels like you have the ability to shoot other people, but there's still just the game going on around you. It doesn't feel like a true PvP, which I don't think it's supposed to. And also, I think what Ubisoft will end up trying to do is it will be a mode within the Division, because they're not. If they are going to make a battle royale, in my opinion, they're not going to create something that is going to literally kill the Division. They've got a lot of money invested in the Division. They've got plans for it in the long term. Unless they plan to just kind of axe it and then go with this battle royale format, which is possible, but I don't think they're going to kind of go the epic route with kind of dropping Paragon and saying, that's it, we're going to go here and this is going to be your thing, because ultimately, really, Epic, this is all they got. Yeah, sure, they've got, Unreal and things, but come on, let's be real here. This is the show. I mean, this is actually a game that is re-putting Epic on the map.
Yeah.
Other than their engine. So for Ubisoft, sure, they'd love to have a massive hit on their hands, but I think they're going to take that battle royale thing and try and implement it in the Division to sell more copies of the Division and ultimately push other agendas within the Division. And how focused would they really be on the battle royale? Are they going to be able to create those updates, be super open on Twitter and social media, listen to the community, help out the streamers and push it the way that it needs to be pushed? I don't think so. That's me personally. A game that I would love to see it, that would actually sell copies of the game, and people would not only play the campaign, but they'd play the battle royale and they would play online multiplayer, is Battlefield. If Battlefield comes out with a battle royale, Battlefield battle royale.
Yeah, no, we talked about that before. I mean, that's the most obvious choice out of all of them.
Maps are already huge.
Yeah.
They've got vehicles in there that you can drive around in, multiple people in tanks, Jeeps. You're driving around doing crazy shit. The whole world, although you're not going to build like you do in Fortnite, it's destructible. So everything blows up. Everything can be walls can be ripped apart. Buildings can be. I mean, that is the battle royale you get excited for. I think the Division, if they are going to come out with the battle royale, I think it's going to be a cheap tactic to sell more of the Division. People are going to play it, realize it's probably not even going to be as good as PUBG, and it's not going to be as exciting as Fortnite. So ultimately, sure, they can do it, and I'm sure they'll make money off it out of curiosity. I know I'd pay for it, just to try it out. but I think that's all it'll be. I think that'll just be me trying it out. Might have a week or two on Twitch, and then everyone's gonna go, oh, you know what? Ninja plays Fortnite. Oh, you know what? Shroud plays PUBG, and that's the show, right?
I mean, yeah,
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean that's always what it's going to be. I mean, within when it comes to Twitch pushing any kind of genre.
But I don't see any new guys or old guys jumping ship to the division. I just don't see that. I don't see.
Yeah. I mean, I also don't know how many people saw when PUBG was out suddenly jumping ship quickly away from PUBG. I mean,
I get it. I'm not saying it can't happen. I think if Battlefield came out or if Blizzard came out with the Battle Royale, which is very possible, I can definitely see people jumping ship.
I think it just needs to be fucking good because.
But I don't think the division will be good. That's
fine, and that's fine. Just whatever comes up, you know, as long as it plays solid. Because that's the thing about the Battle Royale genre right now is that really the only ones that people are going to talk about are PUBG and Fortnite, right? I mean, you know, H1Z1 or whatever exists, but no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
So in that dichotomy, you've got they're wildly different games. PUBG and Fortnite are wildly different. They're in the same genre, but they're wildly different. So but beside that, the biggest differentiating factor is that PUBG runs like a pile of smashed assholes, and Fortnite is actually a competently developed video game by industry veterans, right?
Yep.
So a lot of what, outside of the appeal of Fortnite being obviously skewed towards a younger audience visually in virtually every fucking way, which was smart by them, although it was kind of serendipitous because the original Fortnite wasn't supposed to be this anyway. It just kind of worked out that way. Is that people will go play it because they're just tired of PUBG being broken. It's so annoying. Like you hop on and everything's just busted as fuck 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I think that was the argument to make a month ago. I think now enough people have tried out Fortnite and there is so much, dude, even in this week of UFC Embedded, where they do the Embedded series throughout the week. You can kind of see them train and stuff. 2 different fighters throughout the Embedded series playing Fortnite. Embedded. Everybody
I'm not trying to downplay Fortnite here, but what I'm saying, because my greater point is that for people that really like let's say it's people like me who really like PUBG, there are people in that category who have moved on to Fortnite in large part because PUBG is just fucking broken. That's not the majority of people, but what I'm saying is, to that regard, or to that aspect of it, is that when another player enters the battlefield, so to speak, within the genre, the biggest checkbox right now seems to be, does it run like shit? If not, I'm already really interested, because the people that like Battle Royale seem to be pretty open to playing different Battle Royales. Like, there are lots of people that play both PUBG and Fortnite. There are people that play PUBG, Fortnite, and H1Z1. It's kind of one of those genres where people will freely float around, especially since they differ with relative
I also think, though,
degrees.
if a new one comes out and it is competent, which I think it will be, because at this point,
you would hope,
whatever developer comes out, they're all basic. They're going to be they're going to be good developers, right? Or, you know, PUBG, you know, they're new, right? They don't know what the fuck they're doing. But if another one does come out, here's the reality. What I think, anyway. Say if the Division comes out, Battlefield comes out, right, or Blizzard comes out. We'll say Project X. One of these three come out.
Project X.
You know who's going to suffer? PUBG. Fortnite.
Absolutely.
Fortnite is gonna keep crushing.
And again, Fortnite's will take its own thing.
Yeah.
PUBG, that's what I'm saying, is that when I say that, like, PUBG is, I and many other people have already ascertained that PUBG will forever be a no matter how much we love the game, a broken pile of horseshit. That's PUBG. It's a busted piece of crap developed by people that are shooting above their weight class. They're fucking outside of their zone. and they're not hiring people that are within that wheelhouse, so it's never going to change. Every time they push an update, everyone knows it's going to be broken for at least 3 fucking days before anything works.
Yep.
Everything's just all the time. It's just busted as fuck. Yep. So, yes, I 100% agree. There's not going to be that many people that are going to, let's say jump ship from Fortnite. First of all, I don't think jumping ship will ever be a thing from Fortnite insofar as that
people will try it out. They'll try it out.
Yeah. But the thing is, Fortnite, the building factor of Fortnite is you either like it and that's why you're playing Fortnite, or you don't like it and that's why you're not playing Fortnite. And there's not really going to be another Battle Royale game, I would imagine, that would use that mechanic, right?
Yep.
So in that regard, Fortnite's not going to suddenly hemorrhage. Yeah, it's not going to suddenly hemorrhage a whole bunch of shit. PUBG will get absolutely massacred if a game comes out with any kind of competency whatsoever. Like just baseline.
As long as they don't have building. As long as there's no building aspect.
Yes.
And I think that'd be stupid, because at this point people are fighting for number 2. And also, I don't think there is and Fortnite's just got it dominated, not only the Battle Royale space, but the building aspect of it as well. I don't think another company even wants to go down that route or even challenge what Fortnite is doing, because they don't need to. The clear fight right now, the money fight, so to speak, is against PUBG. And PUBG is weak right now. They're still super strong. They're still relevant. They're still doing its thing. It's not like PUBG's dead.
No.
But man, it took a fucking beating. And right now it is on your doorstep begging for you to call 911, and somebody's either going to slam the door in its face and come out with a competent game, or they're going to let PUBG get back up on its feet and remain number 2 and kind of be that thing that isn't Fortnite, which is totally fine. But obviously the amount of money and hype and just the industry demand for a battle royale, it's
huge.
It's beyond huge. And it's inevitable. Another company's going to come out with them, more than one, and they're going to challenge for that number 2 spot. And PUBG better work on its problems now, before so that people go, you know what? Yeah, PUBG was broken, but now it's actually not that bad. Before another one comes out, because if Blizzard comes out with one, Battlefield comes out with one, hell, if The Division comes out with a competent game, PUBG's in trouble.
Because here's the thing I don't know how many people realize is that I bet you if you looked at the stats, the vast majority of people that play PUBG are still playing in third person. It's the most popular mode that I've seen amongst the Asian players, and which means by proxy, it's the most played mode. So The Division done well, and maybe I don't know. It's hard to say. Like with The Division 2. Maybe the cover mechanics evolve where they kind of walk away from being hard stuck to something. Now, to be fair, I don't know when you played it. I don't know if it's changed at all. Maybe it did. Maybe it did. I don't know. The cover mechanics in The Division are, from that perspective of like the sticking to a wall and moving from cover to cover, probably the best I've ever had. Like by miles. It's not even close. It puts Gears of War, it shits on Gears of War. I can look at an object 45, 50 feet away, and there's like a bus and like 3 walls and an old lady crossing the street, and I just fucking hold down the button for like 0.02 of a second. It confirms it, and my guy takes an intelligent path between those 2 areas and hugs me up against that wall appropriately. I can decide to stay in cover and go around a corner with ease, or stand up or get down, and it all works. It just fucking works. And I haven't played in a game with cover mechanics like that that actually works that well. So that was my first gameplay takeaway from it. I agree that doesn't necessarily work or in my mind, I also can't see it working in a battle royale
it doesn't
format.
Translate the same way.
The only way, or the only reason why it kind of does in my mind, is that if it does remain an urban environment, is that in a squad-based scenario, cover is going to be used 98% of the time anyway, and it's going to be about grenade use and flanking and suppression regardless. It's not going to be people running through an open field, finding a tree, and like humping the ground while they're bandaging themselves to get an arm shot into somebody's head. It's going to be more tactical because there's way too much cover. There's way you can't just run up on a motherfucker when you're in an apartment building or running down the street with cars everywhere and places for people to hide. So like a part of me gets how it might work, but part of me would also feels like where the genre is right now, people like the fast-paced nature of not having that mechanic. That doesn't mean that necessarily there isn't an audience for it, but the bigger audience.
They need Battlefield. That's what they need, man.
It's just
or
so
they
as
just
soon
need a
as you
competent
saw that,
PUBG. Somebody just needs to remake PUBG.
Yes.
And just not make it suck.
Exactly.
That's it. Like, I mean, that's the science.
Well, you know what competent PUBG is? It's Battlefield, but skewed further to the realism side, because Battlefield skews more arcade.
Yeah.
It used to skew more realism, but now it skews more arcadey,
more Call of Duty-ish.
Yeah, so if you like met somewhere in the middle there, that's ideal because the maps, like you said, are already fucking huge, and there's bullet penetration. I don't need to worry about the fact that I just went fully automatic with an AK-47 7 feet away from like a fucking spruce window frame that just blocked all of my bullets, and a dude with like a fucking P92 just killed me because the window frame blocked all of my bullets, which doesn't make any sense. That dramatically alters a battle royale landscape because you get rid of campers way easier. You can't just sit in a fucking washroom with a shotgun anymore. You can't abuse your environment for stupid advantage. And that speeds it up even more because the thing that slows down PUBG outside of the map size and the fact that a lot of people land in very populated zones and so the numbers get thinned out like right away, but you're still on this massive fucking map, is the fact that people are capable of just sitting around.
Yeah, waiting.
Yeah.
You know what? Ultimately, that's not a bad strategy to win.
No,
a game.
Of course, it's annoying as fuck. Like you walk into a room and there's a dude who hasn't touched a single item in the entire house, and he's closed every door, and he's sitting there with a double barrel shotgun. Yeah, you turn the corner and he kills you. Yeah, I want to punch him in the throat, but at the same time, it's a legitimate strategy. It's like it might be annoying and boring.
It just slows the gameplay,
but it slows it down.
Much. And that's what's nice about Fortnite is you can't just hide. Like you got to keep moving. Somebody will bust down your wall. They'll blow up your house. They'll build up on top of you. There's just they'll shoot the wall down.
Yeah.
In PUBG, there's none of that. So it's just it's for certain types of people that didn't realize that the game was slow until Fortnite. I mean, people kind of always knew, but it wasn't a major issue until they realized, holy shit, a little bit of a faster paced environment would be nice. Like we're not talking Call of Duty, but just something to keep the stakes going here. We don't need this to be DayZ where you see one person every 30 minutes and you die to that guy camping in the bathroom. It's okay to die to a guy camping in a bathroom once in a while, but as long as it didn't take 30 minutes to get there or 20 minutes not seeing anybody and going, really? To that guy? Fuck this. And that's annoying.
Yeah, well, that's just it. It's kind of like a similar concept with punishment for death in any game. The developer has to figure out the time invested versus how you die and how fast you get back into the action. That's part of the problem with like PUBG. You could go for 20 minutes without seeing a single soul. You've looted every building. You're looted out of your mind. But there's a dude who happens to be relatively okay with a Car 98 or some shit, and he just rips your head off from like 250 meters away because he's, intelligently, he's edging the circle and waiting for people to come in, and you die, and then you've got to wait 5 to 6 minutes to get back into the game and then go through the looting process all over again. And so you have like this almost 15 minutes of downtime before any real action a lot of the times, unless you're suicidal or a god and you land school every single fucking game and then hope to God you make it out alive. It has pacing problems, and a game like Battlefield with the right map size definitely helps that. And that's why you see PUBG with this savage word. I swear to God, PR, hire new people. But this map that they have, this 4x4 map, way smaller. Action is nonstop because you've got 100 people in this tiny map now, and it's by far, I imagine, going to be the most popular map in the game for that reason. Where the loot is good, there's cool building areas and stuff to make use of, and just being more competent and faster about things like looting people. Like, you can't stand around very long because the motherfucker's going to kill you. You've got to keep moving. And I think it's going to probably dramatically change people's views of how PUBG should be playing right now, or at least reinforce them. And then the devs are going to decide, well, what do we do with these maps now? Because people already hate the desert map with the passion of 1,000 burning suns. The original map, people don't mind all that much, but this new one's going to be popular, and we still don't have the option to choose a map to play on. So I don't know how, like, they're going to have this super popular map, and maybe it's going to end up like when the desert map came out. People would just quit immediately. They got the map, Miramar.
Yeah, like, fuck this, I'm out.
They're gone. And then if you're the person that just wants to like play the game, you're waiting around forever because you see people coming into the game and then leave, and then come into the game and leave. Come into the game until somebody found out a way to use an ini file and edit the motherfucker so that you can't get that map in fucking matchmaking, to skip it entirely because they refuse to add, map selection. So anyway, shit show. Division.
Interesting.
I haven't hated my time with Division 1. Division 2 get announced. Will it have a Battle Royale? I'm saying there's an 85% chance of that happening. And then we wait and see just how good it is. Spider-Man! Spoderman. We saw that at E3. You looked like, or if I remember correctly, you were relatively interested in it because you thought it looked pretty cool. Yeah. So that got a release date. It's coming out in September. I think it's like early September of this year. And I think there's also some gameplay, some newer gameplay floating around that you, if it suits your fancy, you can take a look. I think they were showing off some of the, web slinging around the city, for example, and how that's going to look and play. And I watched it. Looks pretty good.
Yeah,
it looks pretty good. It looks like a Spider-Man game, but it looks like a good Spider-Man game.
Yeah, it's not a game I run out and buy ever. But it does look it. When I did see it, I haven't seen the new clips, but it did look like it was very fluent. It looked like it ran very well. And it just looked like it was fun to shoot webs, which that's what you want in a Spider-Man game. I mean, that's
if doing that isn't fun in a Spider-Man game, that's 50% of your game out the door already.
Yep. So anyway,
yeah,
doesn't look bad.
So if it's September, I'm sure we're going to see a little bit more during E3. We'll probably get an extended look. Somebody will probably have like some 20-minute demo or something that we'll be able to see,
some
like
shitty skit.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it will make the stage, but I think we'll see like in like dev booths and stuff, people will have like a little run of it. We'll see more combat and shit, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Xbox backwards compatibility is getting some sort of like major update here next week. They've been going hard on this backwards compatibility with Xbox 360 games and more recently original Xbox games, and they have a small handful of Xbox original games that are on that list, but I guess that's the focus for this next update from what I've read. And they're doing this with the Xbox One X, where the games are getting up-resed and running smoother, playing better, pretty much all that stuff. So it's the same as the Xbox 360 games have been getting, where by and large they look better, they play better, to a degree. Obviously, it's not like it's a brand new fucking game, but yeah, there's a slew of new ones coming, and I think it's cool. It's nice because I felt like we went through an entire generation and a half of consoles where nobody gave a shit about backwards compatibility, whereas when we grew up, at least two of the generations on some of these consoles had some sort of backwards compatibility to a degree, or at the very least, the Xbox 360 having backwards compatibility was a really big reason why people bought an Xbox 360, whereas PS3 only kept it for like the first 6 months.
Yeah, I got one of those too, and they're pretty expensive and they're sought after. And that's the one that's hooked up in my bedroom. We use that as a Blu-ray player. If I want to pop on PS1 game, PS2, whatever, DVD,
just works.
pop it in, it works, and it works flawlessly. So
it was so weird to me that they stopped that. It just doesn't, like, I'm sure there must have been some sort of, it must have been too costly, whatever they were putting in there to make it work. But it was
they're rare, man. You don't see a lot of them when they come up. Like people, like if they are like on Kijiji
what are they
or
going
on
for right now? Have you seen one lately?
I paid what did I pay? $60 for mine. But I got it, which is a steal. But because I bought a whole bunch of stuff from somebody, I bought out his collection.
Oh, okay.
And he threw that in for $60. But they usually go for about $180 to $250.
I was gonna say $200 or something.
Yeah, depending on the condition.
Because you're getting a lot for that, right? You get a Blu-ray player, and for its entire lifespan, the Blu-ray player in the PS3 was one of the best Blu-ray players that you could buy. Yep. With few exceptions that didn't cost like bajillions of dollars, like a hi-fi Blu-ray player. Yep. And then it had the early ones, that backwards compatibility. That's big. People want why wouldn't you want that? Why wouldn't, especially if you're like if you're somebody that was part of that console family for generations previous, you've got all these games. The older consoles are maybe not working as well as they used to because they're 5 to 10 plus years old and they've been played a lot. So being able to plug it into your new console and just go, especially since it's all just disc-based format shit anyway, is a huge boon. So I really like the Xbox is doing it. Even better that it upscales to like 4K and shit. I think that's crazy. And if you want to see some of that stuff, I think Digital Foundry has done some work with it, and then I am pretty sure Giant Bomb, a handful of months back, did a run-through of some of the first list of games that were backwards compatible from the original Xbox to see how it all works out. And it looked like it ran really well. So that was kind of that's kind of cool.
Interesting. It kind of makes me want to get an Xbox One X.
Not for the new games because they don't exist, but the old games.
For the old games, It makes me, what I love so much about it, and this summer, I'm going to be changing this back wall quite a bit. So I'm probably going to add a lot of games, but I'm also going to alphabetize, or whatever, however you say it.
Oh, pay some poor college student to do that shit. Don't drag your ass through that.
Nah, and all my consoles down there, I'm going to start hooking them all up, and I'm going to put a TV in the middle.
Right.
What I want to do, what I love to be able to do is, I'm going to put my PS3 there. That way I don't have to hook up a PS1 or a PS2. And then with the Xbox One, if it's backwards compatible, I don't need to hook up a 360 or a regular Xbox. I can just kind of play everything right there. And that's what's nice about that. Same with like a Nintendo, Super Nintendo, all those. If you have like one of those Retron 5s, you just put one there. Boom.
Saves you a lot of energy.
Saves a lot of shelf space.
Now, of course, the thing to remember is that with the Xbox backwards compatibility, it's not blanket, right? There's just a very small. They keep adding new games over time, but because of the way that they're doing the emulating, it takes some time, and it's not everything. But what you get from that is quality. So, for example, the majority of the games, anyway, that I've seen them come out with backwards compatibility they look better, but I mean the games they choose, right? Like they listen to the community a bit, they see what developers they can work with, or if licensing is even still available and shit like that, and then they make sure that the games that are being chosen aren't, some of them are vaporware, but most of them are like games that people actually give a fuck about, right? And so you get a little bit of that benefit where it's maybe it doesn't. The hot fire that was the Doritos Challenge arcade game might not work, but maybe you get like something like Lost Odyssey, which eventually came around to being backwards compatible.
Jet Set.
Yes, that is as well, I think, actually. So those two games, that's like 80% of what I give a fuck about on those two consoles.
And they've got Myst. They've got Myst Revelations or whatever.
The fourth one. Yeah, the fourth one was on the Xbox, wasn't it? They did release on that. Yeah.
Got it for 50 cents at a yard sale. So.
I've got it on the PC still. I've got all my boxes. But I'm probably gonna wait for that Myst, whatever 25th anniversary thing, because after doing the virtual computer to play the old ones, I'm just gonna wait. Yeah, I'm gonna wait for that one.
Choice. Good life choice.
Yeah. Overwatch. I played some more of that last night, and man, oh man, I want to like that game. I swear to God, I do, because I do like it. It's the characters and shit are all just so good and unique and awesome. Like, yeah, I like it from that regard. And I want to own statues of Overwatch characters and shit. Like, I want to be like, I like it. And I like watching the Overwatch League. And other than, which we're going to talk about here, other than the fuckboys of Overwatch League, that's fun to watch. And it's competitive and it's great. But my God, does it drain the soul from your body? Almost as bad, if not worse, than League of Legends drained the soul from my body years ago. So that's the segue into this, because old daddy Jeff Kaplan came out and was having a little chit chat with the children. He said, "All right, guys, look, the toxicity is a little real. We need to dial that shit back. You guys are at an 11. We need you at a 4. It's getting to be a little bit too much." And it's actually so much that we're spending so much time on this trying to figure out ways to combat it and to curb this shit from happening in games, that it's actually taking away from the raw development time of the game itself properly, like new characters, new maps, stuff like that, because a lot of energy is being put into it. Because I have to imagine a lot of young people are playing this game. And I'm gonna commend Blizzard to a degree, because I haven't seen them wield the hammer too aggressively yet. Everything that they've made move wise for bans that I've seen have been, like the thumbs up moments. Like, yes, I agree with what you just did. I haven't seen them do things like Riot did with League, where there are people just getting banned for some of the stupidest shit. Like, I think the best example of Riot's fuckery was when that guy who had an account and he played nothing but Singed. But he played like a variation of Singed that nobody else played, and it was completely against the meta, and everyone thought that he was trolling in every game that he was in, and they'd report him. But he would fucking carry the shit at every single game, because he was a Singed god. Some people are just fucking good. Like, you're like, oh, they're not meta. Fuck you. I'm just good with this shit. Come at me. It's like in StarCraft.
Yeah, come at me, bro.
It's like StarCraft. There were players who would do things that, technically speaking, nobody should do because it's bad, but they're so fucking good at it that it doesn't matter. And so this guy was like that. And if you watch the videos that existed for that, he was a fucking Singed god. I would have raged if I was on the other team. He was way too fucking good. He never died. He'd like be running into the fountain on the other side, just trolling people, fucking throwing them, killing everybody, and just people were raging. But his team was also raging, like, motherfucker, do your job. And meanwhile, he's just owning the entire other team. And so eventually, Riot got enough shit to the point where they just flat out banned his entire fucking account and gave him no recourse. They didn't let him talk his way out of it or anything. And there was this big discourse in the community like, are you serious? Somebody's actually playing the game, not being toxic in the game, doing something unconventionally, but that's pretty fucking cool. It's nice not to do the same shit and come across the same stuff, do something new, and you're gonna ban the motherfucker? Like, seriously?
Probably what happened is he'd get in the game, he would like run up into like the enemy's base, do some crazy shit, and the team was like, this guy's a fucking troll, fuck you, dude. Like, and then realize, holy shit, they're spending more time with this guy. I'm starting to win my lanes. Like, yeah, look at me. I've got 3 kills, motherfucker. Yeah, get carried, bitch. And the next thing you know it, they think that they're the ones carrying him out of a game, but ultimately he's the one creating the chaos, which is allowing them to play well or to win. Him. And then they just report him like, yeah, report this Singed. He got carried. Fuck you, Singed.
Yeah.
And then when there was enough reports, Riot probably didn't look much into it. They're probably like, okay, this is probably a problem since 80% of the games this guy is in, people were complaining about the way he plays, and just banned him.
But I don't think he ever got unbanned. Like, despite the fact that this blew up fucking big, like, people were like, Riot, are you serious? This is front page Reddit, whatever.
Yeah,
this was like at least, I would say, a year and a half, 2 years ago when this happened. Maybe 2 years ago now. But, that's my example. So when it comes to Overwatch or Blizzard in general, I haven't seen too many instances of Blizzard overstepping the line. Yeah, they do some questionable shit now and then, but I can appreciate what they're doing with Overwatch, because if they can figure out a way of at least minimizing it a little bit, then I'm all fucking for it. Because, it's one thing, as a streamer to just be screaming at your team or whatever when they can't hear you. It just so happens that you're on the stream or whatever, and that's, it's unfortunate. And depending on who you are, you probably shouldn't be doing that. But it's another thing to be like actively, constantly, every game, just being an idiot with your team and just just screaming at people and cussing them out.
I have absolutely raged.
Yeah.
I actually think that I have raged some of the hardest on Overwatch than I have in any game.
Yeah.
In StarCraft, I rarely rage, and I never rage at my opponent. Usually I'm just yelling at myself, complaining about balance, or calling somebody a tryhard or whatever. In Overwatch, I will call you a fucking cuck, like over voice, and call you a bitch.
I'm surprised you haven't gotten fucking banned yet or some shit. Like
I thought
banned.
for sure. I mean, there was one day I went off. I mean, I was fucking going nuts. Just went deleted my VOD and everything. I was so fucking mad. And I thought for sure that my stream was gonna like report me because you know, even in the back of my mind, you know, after I'm done like just laying on this, like, you know, there's like a 12-year-old that's like,
it's like after you're
fuck
done,
you, man, we don't need another DPS. I'm like, shut the fuck up and hit puberty, you little fucking cuck. Like, you're so bad, bro. You're fucking bad. Get carried, bitch. Fuck. Right? And I mean, I probably was worse than that. Honest to God, I'm just saying it's because it's funny. And then when I'm done, I'm just like, okay, I'm probably going to get fucking banned for 24 hours or something.
Might want to dial it back a bit.
I'm going to dial, you know, I'm starting to feel bad at the end at the end of it. I'm just like, you know, that's not me.
It's like when you're done watching porn and you're like, you look down at yourself and you're like, what have I done?
What did I do? Yeah, what did I feel so dirty? So yeah, that was pretty much me. I mean, I was already like kind of in a bad headspace while I was playing it anyway, like just in a bad mood and shit.
Of course.
So it didn't help. But when you like in Overwatch, you just deal with so much bullshit, and it's always. And the thing is it's usually comes down to the wire in Overwatch a lot. Like, there's a lot of overtime, so you're always kind of on edge, and you're always disappointed. Like, there's always like this.
That's my biggest gripe with Overwatch is that when you win, you don't really get you don't feel particularly great. But when you lose, you want to kill somebody.
You're fucking salty because almost every game is winnable. You're like, if you would just fucking group, like, just wait until our team fucking respawns. You fucking cock.
And it's like
you start the game. You start the game, and dude, I get mad. This is how fast I get mad in Overwatch. I get in the lobby, I'm like, hey guys, how's it going? And then I hear, hey man, and I'm going, fuck! Jesus, fuck! I got another goddamn 12-year-old. It's game over. It's fucking game over. And they're like, yeah, I'm gonna go Widowmaker. It's like, you know what, man? Go fucking just.
You do what you do. You.
It's bad. I gotta turn off voice chat, man, because
I wish
it rages me.
You know, part of me thought that by this point in Overwatch's life, that, you know, the community would mature, not necessarily in terms of age or whatever, but, you know, the longer a competitive game exists, the average level of game IQ in the player base, even if they're new, because they get to get exposed on streams and, you know, other media before they enter the game, that they would have some semblance of an idea of what the fuck they would be doing. And Overwatch is not complicated in that it's an objective-based game, a team objective-based game. So, you know, other than you know, a backdoor people like Tracer or like a Sombra now, that the buff, she's a god. You know, they occasionally, you go in the back, you do some shit, you're a Genji, whatever, but what everyone else is fucking together, working together as a team on the objective, because it's an objective fucking game. Yep. And people
play team deathmatch.
And people play team, and that's the problem. And I don't know how at this point in Overwatch's lifespan it's still so rampant, even in like Platinum and Diamond. It's crazy. I don't understand it. It's like, if you want to play deathmatch, just play a different video game. Just go play Battlefield or Call of Duty.
Make a deathmatch. You know, make a game.
I guess
make a mode where kills matter.
I guess. Right? But maybe they're trying to avoid that because they don't want to go down that road. Just, you know, but it's just, I don't understand how it can still be that way. Like, you know me, I tank main and healer, so I play a lot of Reinhardt and Diva and shit. And I'll have matches where I literally, like, if you look at my Ryan, and you can freely, anyone listen to this, all right? It's NovaWar on a hashtag 1316, okay? You want to look up my stats as like Reinhardt or whatever. You look at the average time my ass is planted on that fucking point, and it is going to blow your mind. Because there's not a lot of people I know that at the end of the game, they look at their stats and time on the objective is over 3 fucking minutes. My ass is sitting on that. I set up a tent. I have a barbecue. I have a family, I raise it, I send them off to fucking school, they come back, they take care of me in old age, and I die on the fucking point. And I got people running around with their fucking heads cut off, trying to pull some shit that pros don't even do. They're not even mimicking pros. They're just bad. I don't understand the fucking logic. Just sit on the point and win the fucking game. Like the other day I was playing and I had what map was it? Junkertown. And it was the last point, you know, where you're inside or whatever, that building at the very end of the map. And we had on this great run, pushed it all the way to within like 3 feet of the fucking end. Because I did an earth shatter, I got 4 to the 6, I fucking dove in, I killed 2 of them, and we managed to get it all the way to 3 feet. But since it's since it's Blizzard, the respawn point is 4.5 inches away from the fucking point. So somebody walked out drunk and stumbled onto the point, and the game continued. All right, so we get dummied because nobody has any staying power. So we just completely got dummied, and eventually we get pushed back. All right, I go in again. I build up my ult because I'm in gold. Actually, I'm in gold. So people are bad. So they let me just fire strike in a line and hit like 5 people, and so my ult just fills like fucking instantaneously. So it's got another earth shatter. All right. So this time, I do what I call the Reinhardt Inquisition, because nobody ever fucking expects it. And I go up on the side, and there's those moving platforms, and I Reinhardt my ass up to that moving platform, and I'm looking down, there's Arissa and everyone they're trying hard and fucking whatever, and I jump down, and I hit my Q in midair, and it's like a fucking out of a movie. And you hear hammer down, and I'm fucking 30 feet in the air, my hammer hits, and I fucking hit every goddamn son of a bitch in a single hit, and they're all fucked, and my team, dicks in hand, pissing in the wind, all got wiped, and we still didn't win the fucking match. So I did it a 3rd time, and we still didn't win. 3 in 3 minutes, 3 earth shatters, 3 minutes. Almost every one of them were the entire team. I think the least I got were 4 of the 6, and we couldn't once put that shit together. That's Overwatch for me, and I want to pull fucking hair is still on my head out every time I fucking do that. And then you win, and at the end you still don't feel good. You're like,
no.
You're like, all right, well, we made it.
It's not worth it. You're just like, fuck, man.
Just fuck.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that.
But we are definitely salty. Now the difference is I can't bring myself to get too angry at people in the voice chat. I'll tell them, if it gets real bad, I'll just tell them they're fucking bad, and then I'll leave the game. But I can't yell and scream at them because I just feel bad. Because some of these people are just, I can't do it. I'll scream on stream, but I can't do it to them. I can't bring myself to that.
I enjoy doing it to them because I like listening to them squirm, and come back with some just horrible comebacks. It's like, oh, good verbiage. Right? That's one guy said that to me, dude.
Good verbiage. You used all the 4-letter words in one sentence. And he actually said it
like that. He goes, someone's testy. Good verbiage. And I'm like, we clipped that shit and everything, bro. For like 3 days straight, everybody would just come in and say, good verbiage. It's like, this guy, man, fuck you.
Good verbiage. I can't hate. I probably would have laughed at that. I would have probably said that right back, because who the fuck actually says verbiage?
Oh, I did.
I would have said good verbiage to you saying good verbiage. Thank you for that $5 word.
I pretty much call them every name in the book. I'm pretty sure that I could say on Twitch without offending a lot of people. So,
on a lighter note, Mr. Black, Shaq Fu is getting an update.
Why?
Why? Because it's the year 2018 and everything old is new again. I just saw this. I thought it was an April Fool's joke. I thought maybe I had gone too far back in the news timeline and we hit April Fool's. But as it turns out, on June 5th, we are getting a Shaq. It's called Shaq Fu Reborn. You can watch that video. There's no real gameplay in it or anything. I think it's just a bunch of like meme cartoon Shaq Fu shit. But it's happening.
I think a lot of this is just, Shaq is just trying to make as many paychecks as he can. I mean, Shaq is just about everywhere. I've seen more Shaq now than I have seen when he was like in his prime.
Because he's into esports now, bro. Did you see the NBA 2K League, bro?
Oh yeah, he's in everything.
Did you see the draft? They did it like an actual fucking draft. They had a bunch of video game nerds sitting out like the NBA draft with tables with their family, and they had like the commissioner up front pull motherfuckers on stage to get drafted onto teams. that happen.
Not even mad about
And
that.
Shaq owns a team. I thought it was pretty fire. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
It looked pretty fucking cool.
I'm not even mad about that. But that's Shaq, man. He doesn't. Shaq is just everywhere. So good on Shaq. Am I gonna play Shaq Fu, the Legend Reborn? No. But cool.
But you should though.
No, I shouldn't.
You should totally. Both of us should play Shaq Fu Reborn. I mean, it looks like it's a good time. I mean, the original Shaq Fu was a masterpiece. So why wouldn't we have a follow up?
Two-player co-op?
I have no idea. I would hope
if it's
so.
a two-player co-op, I'm down.
All right.
If it's not, then no.
If the second guy isn't Kobe Bryant, I'm not down. All right, Jeff, hit me up with a little jingle for movies and TV.
Movies, TV.
All right. I'm going to be real with you. I have absolutely nothing in this category right now. I look through Screen Rant is where I go for all of my movie and TV news. Because I can infinitely scroll and they put up news if they can write 3 words on a page,
it's every 15 minutes.
It's there. so I go there and the most interesting thing I found was, it's a question. I'm going to pose this one to you. Will Rampage, since it's in the same window of release-ish as Infinity War, will Rampage hold up? Does the Rock star power have enough to hold up against the juggernaut that is Infinity War?
Well, can we define what hold up is? Because, I mean, it'll make money. It's going to do really well. I think.
Will it make a bill or close to?
No.
Like Jumanji pulled 900 mil or some shit. Does Rampage pull a bill?
No.
Does it beat Jumanji?
Fuck no. Because Jumanji made $1 billion.
Where do you think Rampage falls?
I think
Does it hit
probably,
5?
No. Well, it might. It might, because Rampage and the whole Chinese culture.
Do Chinese people like The Rock as much as we do?
Yeah,
okay.
They do.
Okay.
Chinese people like black people a lot.
It's the hair.
Could you know? I don't know. I actually don't know how well Rampage will perform. It'll open up. It'll be number one. It'll open up number 1 on its week for sure.
Sure.
It'll probably. I would say it's probably going to open up like 50 million opening weekend.
Because they pushed it back to get even further away or whatever from Infinity War, didn't they?
Well, that's just because. Well, they did, because Infinity War moved up, so they wanted to get away from it a little bit.
So they also they stepped back with Infinity War, basically.
Yeah.
They just kind of shifted themselves.
That when Infinity War comes out, Infinity War is going to destroy everything, right? It's going to be like, it's going to absolutely just wreck for weeks, for until like Deadpool comes out or something. But it'll do well. I mean, it'll open well. Is it going to make $1 billion? No. The reason why Jumanji made a bill, I do believe it crossed the $1 billion mark. It's still in theaters right now. Like, it's still in fucking theaters, dude.
Did it do well in China?
It did well everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, it did well in China. It did well in North America. It did well everywhere. It had I think the longest number 1 streak in the theater since like Titanic or something.
Excuse me?
Yeah. Dude, Jumanji.
I mean, I knew it was big, but that's ridiculous. Number 1 for that long? Damn.
It was massive. It was number 1 for weeks.
Did you see it? Did you end up going to see it?
Yeah, I saw it. It made just so much money, and it's just a fun movie. It's a good time. But the main reason is because it opened in a time where there was no big openings. So like, it was this perfect time. I mean, there were some movies out, but there was nothing like Avengers coming out. Like, we're now in like movie season peak. We've got like Avengers coming, we've got Deadpool coming, we've got Jurassic World coming. I mean, we've got some big blockbusters. So there's no way it can do the same run. But I think it will linger in the theaters for a while. And but I also think the majority of the money that it's going to make is going to be in the first 2 weeks. And then when Avengers comes out, rip.
He's got another one this year too, doesn't he? Like in the not like Skyscraper or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. It's like a Die Hard type movie.
Yeah. I didn't even know that was a thing until I read it paired with the article about Rampage, because I heard about Rampage, but I didn't hear about Skyscraper.
Yeah, because they're not campaigning on. Obviously, he's focusing a lot on Rampage. It's tracked. The critics are saying it's fun. It's a good rock movie.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens. But I don't. Jumanji also had other co-stars in it, right? It had
Jack
Kevin
Black,
Hart, Jack Black.
Or Kevin Black, Jack Black. Jesus.
Yeah,
Kevin Hart, Jack Black. Kevin Black is his cousin.
So it had a nice cast.
Yeah.
And it's also Jumanji, it's
it had a nostalgia attached to it.
Nostalgia thing. It was just a family friendly movie. Rampage isn't as family friendly. It's it doesn't have that star studded lineup, but it'll do well. It's not going to hold up against Infinity War. Once Infinity War comes out, it's just going to murder. It's just going to kill like box office records, I think. So
what comes after Infinity War in the Marvel universe? Like, do we have what's already slated?
I think Ant-Man 2's coming out. Like the Wasp and Ant-Man. I think Deadpool comes out.
But I mean, in terms of like the extended universe, like or whatever.
Ant-Man's coming.
Okay.
I know Black Panther 2 is obviously going to happen, but then they've got Infinity War Part 2, right?
Oh, this is a two-parter.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a two-parter.
Okay.
So the first half, someone's going to die. Definitely.
Of course.
One or two Avengers are likely going to kick it. And he's probably not going to get all of the stones, or he'll get all of the stones,
and then that starts the second movie,
and then it'll go to the second movie, or something catastrophic will happen.
Well, there's a cliffhanger of some kind coming. We just don't know what that is.
Yeah. Captain Marvel. That's right. Captain Marvel's coming out.
Oh, right.
Her movie's coming out too.
Yeah.
So I guess that's actually going to be the next big one. That'll come out, and rumor is that she is in Infinity War, but not. At the beginning we were hearing she was going to be in the movie, and now people are thinking she's going to be in a post-credit scene. That's where we're going to see her, or they're going to refer to her, or she might make a quick appearance towards the end of the first one.
Well, they've done that a couple times, right? So, like with other characters, right, where they do like the little introductory here for like a few seconds, but not really playing a major part in the movie, and then their actual movie comes up.
I think she's going to have a big part in part 2. So we'll see.
So, but is her movie in between?
Yeah.
Those two? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And are they one year after the other, or are they closer than that?
I think part 2 comes out in 2019, or 2019 or 2020. I'm not sure. Her movie comes out. I don't know if it's coming out the end of this year, or it's early next year. Let me see here. Captain Marvel release date 2019. Yeah, so it's next year. And I wanted to say Infinity War Part 2 was might actually be
maybe it's an early maybe it's an early 2020 or some shit.
I thought it was 2020, but then again, that does seem kind of late.
Far.
Yeah, it does seem like coming into 2019. So May 3rd of 2019. So Captain Marvel must come out in I would probably say no, because they don't release big movies like that in January. So I would say it's probably gonna be March, a March or April release, and then we'll get Infinity War Part 2.
Damn, running one right into the other there. That's gonna be a big couple of months.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens.
That's pretty much all I had.
I'm gonna go check out A Quiet Place tomorrow.
Okay.
Which is a horror movie.
Okay.
It's 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was 100%. I hear it is the most.
Is that the one that's directed by Jim from The Office?
Yes, and his wife, Emily Blunt, is the star of the film, and he actually plays the husband in it as well. So he directs and leads.
Yeah, I just heard about that the other day, that he was doing it, and I just found it it struck me because I'm watching The Office right now while Gabs is away. She's not a big Office fan, but I haven't had a chance to watch like long stints of The Office, so I've been watching it a lot. Fire show, by the way, fucking hilarious. And his character, I mean, him and Pam, probably some of the best chemistry two actors have ever had on TV or movies, period, ever. And so I was watching that quite a bit, and I saw that pop up that he was directing that, and I was like, "Excuse me?"
And starring.
then it was, and starring, and it's a horror movie, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
What?
and it's completely groundbreaking. Like the whole movie, there's barely any sound. Like there's very little dialogue. Like a lot of sign language. Because there's these monsters.
They don't want to hear. That's why it's called the quiet place.
If you make any noise, they come kill you. So even when they're taking steps, they put like flour and shit or something on the ground, and they step on things so that you can't even make noise on the ground. Like even when they're walking through the woods, they don't step on leaves or anything. Everything's done in like sign language. Even when you're hearing things in the house, everything is open very slowly. And apparently, if you have a good theater and people are quiet, you can hear people like eating popcorn and shit. Like, and then when shit gets real, apparently like it just heightens everything.
Well,
like when
you're
there
so
is
used
noise,
to silence.
Yeah, when there is noise, it is loud and there you can't even scream. Like if they're scared, they can't scream, they can't yell. It's apparently like the best horror film.
That sounds like fire.
In years, like
that
people
like
are ranting. I would have loved to have seen it tonight, but we got this. So I'm going tomorrow. I cannot fucking wait. I love a horror movie, but every single critic is like giving this a 5 out of 5. Like they're 10 out of 10. Like groundbreaking.
What time are you going tomorrow? Because I'm booked in the afternoon, but
I'll go whenever. If you want to go, I'll go with you. I'll go with you at like 7:00 show if you want to go, or whatever. But apparently, dude, it's fire.
Oh, I'm definitely
and Kayla
down.
works tomorrow, so I'm like, I'm going. So I'm like, I was gonna go by myself, but if you want to roll,
I'll hold your hand. We'll watch this gym movie together. It'll be lovely.
Yeah. I hear it's awesome, man.
When I saw the Rotten Tomatoes, I was like, what is even happening right now? Jim from The Office is directing and starring in a horror movie, and it's got 97% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
How many reviews are in for that? Like, is that an actual like?
Yeah. Like critics, 128 critics
Holy
registered on Rotten
shit.
Tomatoes. Yeah. And,
well, it's gonna be good then.
Yeah, dude. It's like every critics that I respect, all almost perfect.
This is really early in the year, but and it's a horror movie. Does that mean that it's kind of maybe talked about Oscar time? Do you think it could happen?
Well, you never know. You never know.
Obviously not best picture, but in terms of like maybe just how they did the film. Like there's 1,000 categories that I don't know.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. I don't know what it
something.
would be. I mean, obviously, I don't think it would probably. Well, you never know. It might even go into sound design or.
Yes,
or
that's what I was thinking. Something along those lines, maybe.
Something along those lines. But I hear it's very atmospheric, and when shit goes down, they say it's almost like it's like an experience. It's kind of like one of those things that you've never seen before in a movie. Like it's quiet. Like you don't fucking hear shit. And then it's boom. So I think that is I think it's such a dope idea. It's not something you'd want to see all the time.
No,
but
of course not.
It's almost like the Blair Witch experience. Like the first time the handheld camera shit, it's almost like that. So it's a breath of fresh air, and usually horror sucks. But Emily Blunt's incredible.
Yeah.
So let's go. I'm ready.
Yeah.
So there's that movie, and also Blockers with John Cena apparently is hilarious. It's got an 82% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is good for a cheesy comedy.
Starring
over 100
John
critics
Cena.
already in on it. Audiences are loving it. Like audience love it even more than the critics. And apparently it's got a completely American Pie feel. So it feels like it feels like American Pie movie.
Oh,
so
okay.
Like the way it is, like the realism to it, and just the jokes just are very real, and they just can resonate to the crowd. It's very relatable comedy, and it's apparently just hilarious. So
go John Cena.
So yeah, apparently that's really good too. So
nice.
So far the movies, the summer movie season is off to
A good
to a
start.
decent start. Yeah.
Not bad.
So that's pretty much it. Ready Player One was awesome. Saw that. That was
Oh right, yeah, I heard pretty good things about that. As long as you didn't read the book, apparently it was pretty good.
yeah. You know, some people that read the book didn't like it because it changed
Which
quite
is
a bit.
that it's rarely that's not the case though.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do some of those things for movie, right? It's just some things don't translate well. Still did really well. Did well in the box office. 74% on Rotten Tomatoes, which ain't half bad. The best Spielberg movie I've seen in a very long time. And the best video game type movie I've ever watched. So I loved it. I never read the book, obviously, but I absolutely loved the movie. And just there's so much pop culture in it. It's ridiculous. Like there's movie related shit in it. There's ton of video game related stuff. Like there's Tracer from Overwatch is all fucking peppered into this. There is a lot, and it's clever. It's like a mystery. Like you're trying to find these. Basically, the premise of it is there's the Oasis. I won't spoil anything, but the plot is there's the Oasis, like the world that you live in, that we live in, is run down. It's fucked up. You don't even really want to be part of it. And so people escape into the Oasis, which is like a virtual reality. You put on these things and you can be whatever kind of avatar you want. If you want to be like an anime avatar, if you want to be more of a realistic
so
like
this is Second Life.
This is literally like the dream. Like this is you can do whatever you want. You can be whoever you want. It's cool. So, and there's a level up thing. So you go around and you kill other people or monsters, and you gather gold, and with the gold you buy in-game items. So there's like huge stores, and you go in and you deposit your gold, and they'll give you like a new suit or a new gun or a massive grenade that you only can use once, and you got to save it for the right time.
Okay.
Or a rollback thing where if you get killed, you can roll back so that and when you die, your avatar blows up, and all your gold and all the shit that you've ever grinded for gets dumped. So you lose everything. So when people, it was showing like people that would die and then they would kill themselves in real life because they're like,
They lost everything?
I lost everything, and they fucking try and jump out of a window. You know, there's so much cool, like microtransactions. There's so much cool shit, and then it's all about the creator who created it, created this world. He ends up dying, and he leaves the entire world to a game where there are 3 Easter eggs that you got to find and solve the riddles for and clues, and you got to go through sort of these levels, or you got to figure out this thing. I don't want to give too much, but whoever gets all 3 eggs gets the ownership of the Oasis, and they basically can say if it stays or it dies or it gets changed or whatever, they own it. And the guy gives his rights away to everything to those people. So there's so many Easter eggs in there. There's so much video game stuff. There's things that you'd be like, oh my God, dude, even Twitch gets a shout out in there. Like there, anything and everything you can think of video game, like people that love video games are gonna like you pick up on. I want to see it again because you pick up on so much shit. Like Kayla would just be watching, and Kayla loved it, but Kayla would be watching it, and I see something, and I'm going, oh my God, they really fucking just put that in. Like I get it. Some other people don't get it, but as a gamer, I fucking get it. I'm like, yes, that is what we go through. Those are the things, dude. It's fucking good, man. And IMAX 3D, you're inside the shit. Like 60% of the movie is in the Oasis and 40% is outside the Oasis.
Okay.
You just want to be in the Oasis. You get outside the Oasis, and although the story on the outside Oasis is kind of meh, it still works, but you're just like, get me back in there because it's so fucking cool what they do. You're just like, oh my God. Like, you know, you can tell Spielberg doesn't know much about video games, but he got enough of what we do in there.
He asked enough of the right people to make it work.
Exactly. And you can tell that a lot of companies paid a lot of money to have like their property in there. Like, you'll shit yourself. I don't want to give away any spoilers on what's in there, but you'll shit yourself on some of the shit that's in there. You're going to go, no fucking way. Did they really get that in there? And these characters are like talking and fighting and killing and dying, and you're just like, what the fuck, man? This is crazy. It's dope. It's dope.
It does. It sounds good.
Oh, it's dope.
It sounds good.
Yep.
Well, there you go. Dope. Well, there's that. It's time to move on to tech support.
Yeah.
First question I've got here, Mr. Black. This is a very topical question, and I hope it doesn't have to be topical for a hell of a lot longer, but it is. This comes in from Duke, $130 lifetime support.
Thank you.
Said, with a bunch of states having legalized recreational cannabis and legalization coming to Canada this summer, do you support the move, and why? If yes, what other drugs, if any, should also be legalized?
Yeah, I'm for it being legalized. I think putting people in jail or fining them for smoking some dope is pretty fucking stupid. Clinically, it has been proven to help a lot of diseases or help the side effects and symptoms of a lot of illnesses. Tons, like just too many to even count. It makes you feel good, it doesn't kill anybody. Weed does not kill anybody. The only time weed kills people is when people kill each other over weed.
Or they get really stoned and go drive a vehicle or some shit and fuck. But
even still, typically when people are high at the wheel, it's also been proven that they typically don't get in accidents. They're more paranoid. They're more sort of alert. They know they're high and they know they're driving high, and they usually drive slower more than anything.
I guess I don't have a bunch of stats on it. I just
I don't. I mean, I'm not going to say
when nobody drives under the influence of literally fucking anything is probably
But
I don't even want your ass driving if you're too tired, let alone fucking stoned.
Listen, this by no means. I think I've said this on the podcast before. If you're high and you're driving impaired, and you should be thrown in jail for it. You deserve the same type of punishment that if you are driving drunk. Plain and simple. You're impaired. Your thinking is impaired. Your hand-eye coordination impaired, and you should be in no means driving a vehicle. With that being said, do I think it's as dangerous as being drunk and driving? No, I personally don't think it is, but it doesn't make it any right. It's still not gonna. I mean, in high school, all the kids that would just drive stoned. I mean, everybody in fucking high school,
everyone was fucking high
just
all
get
the time.
fucking high. I mean, even still today, the kids they drive around stoned. You see the smoke coming out the fucking window. They'll drive to a park or a baseball field and they'll
Just
smoke a joint and then they'll leave.
car.
Right? And then they'll just drive off like nothing's happened, right? And to be fair, most people get high so much that they don't even feel high anymore, doing it for whatever purposes. But whatever, that's for a different conversation. But yeah, I mean, there'll be people that'll listen to this podcast right now that probably smoke weed and drive, and they'll probably try and rebuttal anything and everything that we say about it being a bad idea. But I don't care. I doesn't make you a bad person by any means. I'm not like fucking, putting you out to the cross. But I think if they are going to legalize it, they do need to punish people that are going, because when you legalize marijuana, which is going to happen, more people are going to smoke it. They just are. They're going to be curious. It's going to be available at the liquor stores here. You're going to be able to just go in and purchase it. I know for me, I don't smoke weed, but if it's legal and I'm having a UFC night and my boys are coming over and they're going to pick up some weed at the liquor store, which is crazy as that sounds, and I haven't smoked weed in like fucking 7 years, there might be a time where I'm going to go, you know what, fuck it, I'll take a couple puffs with you guys, just to be part of the circle here. I'm in the comfort of my own home, whatever. It doesn't mean I'm a pothead or I smoke it, but I think a lot of people will have the same mindset as me, where they may become casual smokers, like once a month or once a year, or they'll get high or fucking whatever, because it's legal now. You're not breaking the law. You're in your own home. You can go buy it. It's safe. It's regulated. It just makes more sense. So with that comes more people that are going to smoke it and ultimately attempt to drive. And I think that they really need to hammer down and do the TV commercials, as cheesy as they are, put them on the front of packs of weed packages, saying that driving while under the influence of marijuana, whatever that influence is to people, is illegal and will be punished for doing so, and can kill not only yourself but somebody else, no matter how good of a high you think you are at. Just like functioning alcoholics that can drink and not feel a fucking thing and do regular things that you'd never know. And trust me, I know some of these people. Got one of them in my family, a couple of them within my family, that you see them, they are drunk, but you would not know that they just drank 12 beer and are, just functioning alcoholics. You just wouldn't know. So those people can drive around, not that they're able to, but you just wouldn't know. And those are the same. Most seasoned weed smokers are the same way. They get high all the time and they're just used to being high. And that's it. Now I think the vast majority of people that smoke marijuana even now are responsible with it. They smoke it in the comfort of their own home or with their friends, and they're not getting high and then jumping into their car right away. They might get high and then like an hour later, when they're feeling off their high or whatever, then they'll go and drive. I think that's fine. But then again, if they do get pulled over and there is that still in your system, even though you feel normal, you might get pinged at this point, because they're going to start fucking hammering down. They have to. So I am all for the legalization of marijuana. I think criminalizing people for wanting to get high, but not doing it for people that get drunk, just seems fucking stupid. And the government can make tons of money, can fix up lots of parts of the city, tax it to all, live in hell. It'll probably stop a lot of crime that is like little fucking petty crime that happens around here. Still, that'll always be there. There'll be this kind of kush that you get on the streets that, whatever. But at the end of the day, you're probably not going to have a lot of these 16, 17-year-old wannabe drug dealers, slinging weed on the corner when people can just go and pay an extra couple dollars at the gas station and not have to risk their life or getting mugged, meeting up with some sketchy drug dealer, or just the activity of meeting a drug dealer or having one. Everybody has a drug dealer on their cell phone, or knows somebody that knows a drug dealer on their cell phone. It'll just be nice to not have those people on your cell phone. And if you want to get high, you just go to the liquor store or wherever, to a dispensary, and buy your weed. So I'm all for it.
I'm for it. At a base level, because if we're going to have alcohol, we might as well have that. Now, there are lines. I'm not going to say, well, if we have weed and we have alcohol, well, fuck it. Let's just make meth.
Cocaine.
Let's just make meth legal. Fuck it. Just let it go. We'll sell meth in our liquor stores and it will be great. No, I don't think we need to go that far. But in the grand scheme of things, it's a sensible step, and it does make money for the government, and it does take some of the burden off of people who use it recreationally or otherwise, or make it easier for people perhaps who couldn't get their hands on a medical license for it, that still wanted to use it to treat it because they found that it did a better job, or they felt more comfortable with it. There's a lot of upside to it. I personally think the biggest upside to it is that I can maybe hope to stop hearing people fucking talk about the weed culture bullshit so goddamn much.
Yeah.
It's just like the most, like, no offense, but motherfuckers, Jesus, like, you're like vegan crossfitting fucking, PETA activists. This shit's real. Just any opportunity to discuss the legality and the stupidity of not having it be legal is just painful. Fucking hurts. and just the constant just jammering on about the shit on the internet. I mean, which I guess you're going to hear more of it than anywhere else, because in person, maybe depending on your circle of friends, you might not have to hear it so often. But on the internet, it's just like been years and years of
Here's
just.
the thing, though, dude. It's going to get worse.
When it becomes
legalized,
yes,
people are going to be taking Instagram photos of their weed that they're about to smoke, and
that'll be like there's going to be a window of like a heightened. Everyone's going to be like it'll be 1999. Ha ha ha! Smoking my legal weed, motherfucker! Ha 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 ha! 420. Like it's going to be like a lot of that shit for sure. But I think that's a finite window, and once it becomes normalized, then it's not going to be nearly as fucking bad. Like, oh my god, it's just fuck. Stop. Nobody really fucking cares. It's like, and for some reason, these seem to also be the same people that like to talk about, being like a, what is it called? When like you're a free person or whatever, the fucking, where you're not paying taxes and shit because you're claiming that you're, what's it called? Fuck.
What, like you're Native American?
No.
I'm not paying tax, bitch.
No. Well, somebody in chat will help me out with this. I'm positive, but it always ends up being like it's that and like conspiracy theorists and like they seem to occupy the same fucking space. But Freeman on the land, sovereign citizen. That's the one. I knew Smitty as soon as I saw Smitty was there. He got me. The sovereign citizen bullshit and like evading tax and crap. It all seems to occupy the same people's minds and just. I don't know. I know it's not everybody, but it is definitely up there with vegans for just shut the fuck up. Like
to add on to his thing. So I think we're both in agreement that sure.
Yes, absolutely.
This is a positive thing.
There are more upsides than there are downsides.
And I think we can both agree that I don't think any other drugs need to be added to the list. I
no.
think that this is
no.
This is as far as
I think we're good.
So my thing is what are the downsides of legalizing marijuana?
I think most of it's just short term, the way that I look at it, because I look at it this way. It's like I'll call it the Catholic schoolgirl syndrome. Okay? So you got a girl that goes through like an all girls school who is taught that like sex is the fucking devil, and just no sex before marriage, don't even think about a dick, never rub one out, don't anything, just and they're so pent up by the time they leave, and then they get to the real world. No, priests, little boys, they don't give a fuck about girls. So then they get to the real world, and then they get exposed to all that, and all of a sudden, like a lot of them. They go from 0 to 100. It's like when parents hold alcohol back from kids for a long time, and they like no, it's awful. It's gonna ruin your whole life. They go overboard, right? They do that.
They scare people. They're trying to scare them.
Yeah.
They're trying to control the almost uncontrollable.
And then the kid goes out and goes in the the polar opposite, like the flip side, goes to the extreme. And rebels a bit, right? But it's more because they're interested because it's like don't touch the red button, right? So now that we're removing the don't touch sign, there's going to be probably
you calling it a gateway drug?
And no, just an overindulgence. It's going to be like it's just going to be because it's going to be everywhere, right? It's going to be it's going to probably be a case of a lot of people who wouldn't do it because it's illegal. But have always kind of wanted to do it. It's like they have the want to do it, but they don't have the ability to get around the fact in their mind that it's illegal. So once that gate is lifted, like that's what I can see. And obviously it's not going to be as bad as going out and drinking a fucking Texas Mickey on your first night and just getting fucked. Like it's obviously not the same thing, but I think that's really one of the few downsides to it. And I think that like with anything that gets handed over for government control anyway, and how they license it and whatnot. Some of the downsides to this might not be something that we can predict or even see for, a decade. Like we're just not going to see it until it happens. There's always a downside to something. There's like nothing is just all coming up roses. There's always a downside to it. But I think for me, the easiest call will be that it's going to be like taking the veil off or whatever, or opening the floodgates on Black Friday and people are just getting fucking. And I don't mean that in the literal sense where people are literally kicking down the doors of dispensaries, but like the sense where people are going to maybe go overboard on it, and like there's always too much of a good thing. One way or another. But it's hard to say, really, because it is, like I said, I think there's more upside than downside. I think the downsides are maybe just harder to see.
Yeah. And it's like, and it's funny because when you think about it and you try and weigh the pros and cons, you go, well, what's the downside of legalizing alcohol? And you can think of a bajillion things, right? You can think of like so many things that, can go wrong with alcohol, but then people will make the argument, well, what's the difference between weed and alcohol, right? So, they're both impairing you. Hey, it's kind of like the whole gun thing. It's like, well, what's wrong with guns? It's, hey, there's stupid people out there that are abusing alcohol. They're getting addicted to alcohol. They're ruining their lives, their marriage, their everything. They're drinking and driving and killing people, but I'm a responsible drinker. I have a few Crown Royal on the rocks. I have a few brewskis at the end of my shift, and I don't hurt anybody. So you've always got that sort of thing.
Well,
I
people
think
will abuse everything, right?
Of course, right? That's just the way she is. I think with weed, it's even like, even if you abuse weed, I think the worst thing that can happen to somebody is that they just become unproductive. I think what this might do to our country is make people dumber. And as blatant as that sounds, is if listen, we've already got kids eating Tide Pods and snorting condoms. And if you're coming up and you're going to be able to legally buy weed, and you're just going to go, like, instead of parents buying alcohol for their children, they're going to go and buy weed. Like, that's just it. And listen, I don't care what anybody says. Listen, I know one of a couple of people, I'm not going to name any names, but a couple of very successful people in my community are hardcore potheads. And these guys are geniuses, right? They're fucking like absolute geniuses. Some of the smartest people I've ever met personally. Very successful, great, right? They're the exception. But there are a ton of people that smoke weed, and I know this from firsthand. I know a lot of people, and I'm sure you know a lot of people that are potheads. Yeah. And I don't care what anybody says, pot will make you lazy. It will, for most people. There are exceptions to anything. But ultimately, I think people are going to, this is a possible downside. I'm just theoretically, I'm just throwing it out there. I think that we could have a generation of people that just become very lazy. They just want to get high. They just want to smoke weed and melt in their chair or eat their gummies, chill out, smoke weed, play video games, be lazy. If they're already unmotivated, they don't have a job and they're already unmotivated, I don't think smoking weed is going to help your motivation to get up and do something. Kind of the same way probably getting drunk and drinking is not going to help your situation. But there is sort of this different type of acceptance. It's cool to smoke weed at 10 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's not cool to drink at 10 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Typically, if you're caught drinking around those times, you got to make some sort of joke that, well, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, or you're an alcoholic and you're drinking for a purpose of getting drunk, right? There's not many people that are like, I woke up, I had breakfast, had a late brunch, whatever. I think I'm going to have a couple beer, 3 or 4 of them. Your chances are you've got a problem. Like, you need to drink. With weed, that's not the case. Weed, it's like, I want to get high. Like, I'm just fucking chilling. It's a Thursday afternoon. I want to get high, or I'm getting ready to go to school. I need to get baked for this class because I don't want to be half. I just want to be whatever. And there's an acceptance to that. And I think when it is legal, there's going to be a lot of people that smoke weed are probably going to smoke it even more. And people that don't normally smoke weed are going to start smoking weed. And I think that it can create a tendency to be a little bit more procrastinating, or being having more procrastination in your life than what you're typically used to. Now, there will be exceptions, and not all people are weak-minded or get that easily swayed, but there are a lot. I think that can be down.
Like we've already talked, there's functional alcoholics, there's functional weed smokers, there's functional depressed people. Like,
yep.
You can find exceptions to many rules, but when you start talking in more generalities, I mean the odds of finding any sort of appreciable majority that aren't going to end up like some of the folks that you and I would have known going to school, that were, what you would call a pothead, somebody who's not smoking it necessarily just recreationally, but just fucking trying to be Snoop Dogg or some shit, just chain smoking the shit like it's going out of style or something. That's a different thing entirely. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to happen. I mean, it might be a bit of an extreme view to look at it that way, but again, and that's why I say it's going to be something that we might not see for a handful of years until it kind of comes to fruition. And I don't know. I just don't want to fucking hear about it anymore, or like nearly as much. It's just because I
think people are just gonna show off their weed and take selfies and be like, "Yo, I'm high with the boys," or smoking a bowl.
Yeah.
A lot of bongs. Like, listen, if anybody is investing into anything, I think investing into this whole weed thing, dispensaries, or some kind of weed type something in the industry, there's going to be tons of people getting hella rich off marijuana. There's going to be weed everything. Like, there's going to be a movement.
Of course.
It's going to be obnoxious. It's going to be like Pokemon Go, but weed-wise for a while, until it becomes cool. Like, oh, cool, you're smoking weed, bud. It's like, everybody's doing that shit. Like, we don't need to see it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'm for it, and it is what it is. Maybe I'll get high one time for the stream, or for the podcast.
You do you, boo boo.
Probably not, though. Probably not. It just doesn't appeal to me, right? It makes me paranoid, and I don't like it.
That's kind of the fucky thing. Is that I don't know. If I'm gonna be real, if I sat down and thought about it long enough, right? I don't know if I want to say it because it's the internet. I don't know if I want to fucking say it. Okay, all right. I'm gonna fucking go for it. All right, I'm gonna go for it.
Oh boy.
If there was like a road that could be taken where people weren't already so adjusted to just having alcohol in their lives on a daily basis, and we already had this obviously in the Prohibition era, right? Where even back then, with a much smaller population base, people were none too happy about losing the sauce to get through their day-to-day lives, especially given, the state of life back then. And it's not like life doesn't have its ups and downs now, and people lean on that shit. I'd just get rid of it too. Like if I could have like just no alcohol, no
Adam
weed.
wants no guns, no weed, no alcohol. He wants us to be miserable.
Just fuck it. And then somebody would say, but what about coffee? Because that's technically a drink. Fuck it. I don't drink coffee either. I don't give a fuck.
Get rid of coffee.
Get rid of coffee.
Listen, motherfucker, you ain't touching my coffee. It's my Second Amendment right, bitch. I want to be able to go to Tim Hortons and get my double with a shot of vanilla, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You ain't taking my coffee, bitch.
Exactly.
I'm fucking voting Republican. You ain't taking shit.
No, I don't know, because I just feel like, I've got my liquor upstairs, and I enjoy my beer, and I enjoy my rum and my rye, and I drink it straight. I'm not fucking here mixing fruity ass drinks and shit. I drink my alcohol straight, so I like it. I enjoy alcohol, but if I had a choice to get rid of it, then I would. Because in that case, I feel like there's more upsides on a societal level than downsides. And at the end of the word, because like I guess the only counter to that would be, outside of freedom of choice or whatever, which is obviously a thing that's always going to be a hot topic, is people use it to help themselves along, helps them relax or whatever. And I think all that tells me is that there's a bigger problem that needs to be tackled.
Of course.
Right? So like if people are leaning on substance to, you know, and I'm not saying they become substance abusers, but if it's a part of your life to the point where you're stressed out, so you insert thing here during a time of stress versus having the knowledge on how to deal with that without having to use a substance of some kind, you know, obviously prescription drugs from doctors for very real imbalance things notwithstanding, then that all that tells me is that we have bigger problems on our on our fucking hands. So yeah, like if I could choose, like in a perfect world, I guess, where mental health and education wasn't like some sort of like fuckboy, you know, sloppy seconds political movement, then maybe we could do that. But or maybe if that was solved, people wouldn't be using these things for abuse, and they would be just using them as because they like, you know, they like to just have a drink here and there. So there's a two sides to that coin as well. It would solve its own problem because it's a symptom and not the root cause. So I don't know. I have nothing against weed smokers, but of all the people that I grew up with that smoked a lot of weed or were big into that culture or whatever, there are like two that came out as what I would label a functioning adult, that I would trust my children around type thing, right? And I don't mean because they're gonna fucking kill my kids, but you know what I mean by that, right? Like, because they're not really adults. Like, you probably know some of them. They haven't grown the fuck up. They've just stayed in this weird, permanent state of fuckery.
That's what I was talking
the
about.
The laziness thing, right?
The laziness of
or
it.
Just
right?
the kind of melancholy.
Yeah. It's this like
state that you get
in, whatever,
this laissez-faire fuck it shit, right?
Yeah. But that's also part of the culture of a lot of weed smokers, where it's just like, you know what, bro, just fucking smoke a joint and just fucking chill, bro. That's it. But I mean, I'm so out of touch now. Like I don't even. 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I used to like hang around with a lot of weed smokers. So I could see it firsthand. I don't know if everything has changed now or what, but I get what you're saying. Would I get rid of booze? No, because I like booze. But then again, I
do too. But I just mean, like, if we're talking about the legality or illegality of it,
I actually agree with you. I actually agree with you that there is, like, if you're using it to escape whatever, there's likely a problem that needs to be solved. But I feel like I can't say that. Like, I can't not disagree with you, because you can make the same argument with guns, right? You can literally make the exact same argument with guns. Like, I mean, when you're talking about mental health, it kind of encompasses an awful fucking lot of things, right? It's not so
something.
It's like, do we get rid of all the things that responsible people enjoy because of mental illness, because of a few, right? And it's a hard thing to do. And I think the right answer is no.
Yeah, of course.
No, you shouldn't. But there should be regulations and laws around, and that's why there are regulations and laws on alcohol. That's why here, alcohol stores are only open for so long, and why you cannot drive with so much alcohol in your system, and why all these things are in place, because the law knows, and we know, growing up with all this, that alcohol is dangerous. We also know that guns are dangerous. We also know, but here's the thing, we also don't want to acknowledge that weed can be dangerous, even though it hasn't even really been proven to be all that dangerous, right? So it's kind of this new thing where you almost you need.
We're gonna find out.
We're gonna find out. You need to categorize it sort of the same thing as alcohol.
Yeah.
But yet a lot of weed smokers don't want to admit that it is as dangerous as alcohol. And the question is it really as dangerous as alcohol? Who knows? We will find out when we legalize marijuana. Will there be more accidents? Will there be more impaired drivers? Will there be dumber people? Only time will tell, right? Only time will tell. But
Dude,
I'm
we're gonna
for it,
find
guys.
out.
I'm for it. I'm for it.
We're gonna find out. I mean, it kind of, yeah, I don't know. It kind of, I don't know. It kind of all funnels into when you mentioned the laziness or whatever, and somebody in chat said, "Well, this generation's already pretty lazy or whatnot." Is that and you know my whole spiel about other underlying problems and why these things are being used is that you know the reality is that you know there are lazy people in every generation. It's not like lazy people just all of a sudden cropped up and said, fuck it, the millennials are going to be the laziest generation in the history of the world. But you know, and this is a little off topic, but I read an article about it started because I saw an article about the average housing price versus the increase in housing costs versus the increase in salary over time, starting from like the 50s or some shit or earlier, 30s or 40s maybe. The post-boom era, basically. It covered everything post-boom. And you look at the graph and you get sad very quickly. Because around 72 or 73 when the computer hit and the productivity of workers skyrocketed because of computers, because it allowed people to do a lot more work a lot faster. Pay didn't ever actually fucking scale with it. This was adjusted, so like all it was adjusted for time, inflation. So it wasn't like you were seeing mismatched shit. It was all the same. But then you look at housing costs, and holy fuck, the line is like vertical. Yep. And it's gotten to the point where when our parents, or at least, you know, my dad's my dad and your dad are not that far apart, but like let's say somebody who's in their mid 60s, right? So
my dad's 55.
Yeah, so it's pretty close, right? Yeah. So because my dad would have been into his first home a decade before your dad probably is in my dad's era, we'll say the cost of a home was somewhere around 1.5 to 2 times their salary, their entire year's salary. Okay? Full stop. So
the dream.
You could get into a house and have it paid off really fucking quick. You don't have a massive mortgage or anything like that, and that's why you could see the traditional family home of a single income earner and have the stay-at-home mom for when the kids are younger, et cetera, et cetera. And then we at this point in time, the average is like somewhere around 10-ish times your income. 10 times your yearly salary. Okay? Couple that with a bunch of other factors, like the fact that if you adjust for it, by the time we're 25 or 30, we're already making some $20,000 to $50,000 less than generations previous to us. You have a generation that is inherently just pissed off about fucking everything. And it gave me some perspective because, you know, there are obviously exceptions where some people complain but don't do anything to change their situation. But the millennial generation, which is 22 years, so it spans up to I think like 2002 or something along those lines, from 1980 to 2002. I think is that gap. You've got an entire generation who has basically no retirement fund available to them, or the retirement fund that they have, if it is matched with the company to some degree, is basically nothing. Old age pension here in Canada is a joke.
Yeah, it's bad.
The job market is trash, and you're doing more work now by orders of magnitude than your parents would have or your grandparents would have for less pay. while also trying to get a roof over your head that is between 7 to 10 times your yearly salary, getting a mortgage on that, which means it adds interest, so you're actually paying out more than 10 times your base salary, not including a car or children or anything of that nature. And so you have the baby boomer generation complaining about a whole group of people who aren't apparently just doing what they did, which was, I worked a summer job and I paid off all of my university, because they could. That's another thing, okay? They could work, what was it, 800 hours or somewhere in that neighborhood, 800 hours-ish. We'll say 1,000 hours, okay? University done, paid for, okay? You've got to work. I only have to do the math for you. How long are people working now to pay off
their entire lives,
their university plus their house? And this isn't if people are going out to try and live a fucking super extravagant life. We're talking about people doing trades, because it's no longer a case of, do I want to go to university? Well, no, like it became a cool thing to say, fuck university, go do a trade. You don't need school to get jobs. Well, that's sort of almost a thing, but not much longer, because as some of the people that we have in our lives are starting to discover, is that everything has a license or a degree attached to it now. Even if you want to be in like trades, you're getting slapped with at least 2 years of schooling or some sort of equivalent, and you're going to have to pay out for that. You're looking at a job market that is now somewhere in the neighborhood of 80% software based or programming related or some sort of comp sci equivalent. And because there was a time where you didn't have to worry so much about it, you could just waltz on in and be like, yeah, I'm a programmer, motherfucker. I've been doing it on my off time since I was 15. Well, guess what? Now everybody fucking does that. And now you need a differentiating factor. And the differentiating factor isn't, I programmed a sweet website in my off time. It's, you either went to a programming boot camp for $20,000, or you went to university and you got your fucking comp sci degree. Because the window of opportunity to just be the free-floating hippie fuckboy that didn't go to university because degrees cost too much money, well, now you gotta have it to get a job in the vast majority of places. So you're gonna get reamed no matter what. You're into debt up to our eyeballs. We can't fucking afford children until we're like mid-30s pushing 40. We have almost no retirement. There's a very small portion of people, even in my position, who have a management degree that could go, and at best here in Nova Scotia, for example, dream of making $80,000 a year when you need a combined income of over $100,000 in Nova Scotia to have 2 kids and be above the poverty line. I want to say it one more time. Above the poverty line. We're not talking about be middle class and go on a trip once every 3 years to fucking Walt Disney World. We're talking above the poverty line. Man, you're making me feel
rich as fuck, bro.
Okay? You are! That's the thing! In the grand scheme of things. I'm rich as fuck. I don't have debt. And I made like 65 grand last year, which for this generation right now to have zero debt and make 65K in a year, I'm the top fucking 1%. I'm the one that those people are out there complaining about, and I'm sitting on a podcast in front of 84 people talking about the fucking situation.
Oh my God.
So when you talk about legalizing weed and the alcohol thing and substance abuse and a generation lost and this fucking like whatever, that's the thing, is that we're going to legalize this and we might find out it's going to just make shit worse because we're already dealing with a generation who can't fucking deal with their shit on a daily basis.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah. It's not that everyone got lazy, motherfucker. We can't do anything. You got people working 4 fucking jobs to just try and get into a shack on the side of the goddamn
it's Walmart
road.
Or McDonald's, bitch. Take your pick.
Exactly. And you're seeing down in the States, in like Oklahoma, teachers getting paid literally nothing while working in schools that look like they're a fucking like gulag, and they have to do like to put on their janitor clothes at the end of a fucking day to go do janitorial work because there ain't a fucking janitor or some shit in the school. And then you're dealing with a system that won't give them, I don't know, a school that isn't just literally weeping asbestos and fucking kids shitting on the walls, but we can give the teachers guns, I guess, as a fucking method of defense. Like, it's just like, and you're gearing up another generation for even worse shit. And it's still because the baby boomers are fucking us with cactuses. This crazy.
Fun,
So
man.
the whole thing, I guess, for me with the weed thing, for the downside is you're dealing with a mentally unstable generation, which, by the way, the one after millennials is even fucking worse. And now you're handing them shit that's now legal, which what I mean by that, what I talked about earlier, that short window of time where everyone's going to be going fucking like 3 sheets to the fucking wind. Fuck. That would be my concern.
Our kids are fucked.
Look, trade jobs. Okay, I'm going to have to tell you this right now. Jubinator, trade jobs are not underrated, period. Trade jobs are hyped. And here in Canada, hype as fuck.
Dude,
motherfuckers.
if you can do a trade here, you're getting a job and you're getting paid.
You're doing
well.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
But you still have to. But let me tell you. All right, supply and demand. Okay. Eventually, that's not gonna be the land of milk and honey for fucking ever. It is right now, but it ain't gonna be forever. And if you're looking at the majority of the construction in Canada and in the States, where condos are getting put up in places where there isn't even 4 people to put in the goddamn condo, that shit's not gonna last forever. And you're not going to be able to just be like waltzing in and be like, all right, well, I'm going to fucking fabricate this nice little fireplace mantle for you there, and you can pay me like $1,200, and I'll use some nice beech wood we got down the road there, buddy. But fucking going off to the races. Like, you're not going to be able to do that shit forever. Because eventually, if people look at it and see, okay, I can either take my 5-year degree where I graduated fucking summa cum laude, 4.0 GPA, left that, moved to Toronto where all the highest paying jobs in Canada are, and got fucked in the butthole by a big 4 company for $35,200 a year and paid fucking $60,000 just to have an apartment so that I didn't have to drive 6 hours to get to work. People are going to flock to that shit and be like, yeah, I can do electricity. Shit. Fuck it. I can learn how to do that. I can be a plumber. Fuck it. But then there's going to be a dirge of people that do it, and then you're not going to get paid that much anymore. Unions aren't going to suddenly be able to just generate money out of their fucking asshole and just start sprinkling it around like fertilizer. You got to be able to fucking actually have the demand for it, and that's not going to exist forever, especially when we can't buy the fucking houses that everyone's in trade been building. So, yes, they are a good option right now, but don't think that it's just going to be the fucking just be-all, end-all solution for everyone is fuck school, go build
Just start
houses.
Start a podcast, guys. Start a podcast and
Do
hope
what
that
we
people
did.
head over to your Patreon and support the Patreon. I think it is time that we pull up the names and we shut her down.
That's it.
That's it.
Keep paying us, because, I could be an electrician, but I probably wouldn't be a great one.
No.
Keep me out
I'm
of
just not even going to bother. My dad did a trade his entire life. I prefer not to. So,
if you can avoid it, yeah. Meanwhile, CEO bonuses are getting fatter. Well, yeah, exactly. But that's the thing, is that the baby boomers have very much successfully completely destroyed the middle class. Just evaporated that shit. Doesn't even exist on a graph anymore. You go poverty and then you go millionaire. And there's like literally no middle ground. You're either friggin' eating like spare bread out of the fucking bin
lobster.
somewhere, or you're eating lobster, which ironically used to be what the poor people ate. So
it's all come
soon,
full circle.
so soon, moldy ass crusty bread is going to be the delicacy, and all the fucking poor people won't even have bread anymore.
How long's that bread been sitting? Since '96. That'll be $10,000 per loaf. If it's smelling the mold like it's fucking, like it's
got a heady nose
wine.
to it. Yes, it's a fruity palate. But yeah. So there's my thing. I'm not gonna lie. I went on a big thing for that. Read a bunch of shit, and I depressed the fuck out of myself because it was like hot.
You were
damn.
depressing me there for a second. Then I realized I'm not in that poverty line, so I'm feeling okay.
Yeah, it's not like I'm not necessarily worried too much about me. I worry about my retirement because I'm not making so much money that I'll be able to get into a house and do retirement at the same time.
You're 29, Adam. You're okay. You're gonna figure this one out. You're a smart guy.
I'll be okay. Like I'm gonna be fine. But like, my question is, what by the time my kids are 20 years old, the fuck is the situation looking like then? Right? Like, what if this is where we are now? We have to hope for some serious fucking catalyst to change this shit for the better, or goddamn. I have literally no idea at that point what it's gonna look like. It's gonna take. My concern is it's gonna take another crash in order to make it happen. I don't personally feel like I want to have to go through one of those. Luckily, I was in university when the last one happened, and my dad had a great government job to kind of avoid that shit. But that's not going to be the case for me. I'm not working for the government.
We were on welfare, so,
Yeah,
we were on the opposite end of that spectrum.
Yeah, so like, I don't really feel like going through that again, personally. So yeah, if we could avoid that, that would be lovely. Yeah,
that's it.
there's got to be a lighter note to end on than that.
You can go to our Patreon and throw some money, keep the dream alive. You could do that.
Oh, there's got to be something here that's a lighter note. Hold on, I'm reading these questions, like a short, snappy one.
Well, you better make it quick, bro.
I know.
Because I've been holding in this turd for about 15 minutes
you're prairie
now.
dogging?
Oh, I'm prairie dogging.
Okay. Okay, I'll make it short and sweet. What's the soundtrack to your life? This comes in from Black Jimmy, by the way. 225 lifetime, like a god.
God's plan.
Oh, God. Get out of here. I can't believe you just said
God's
that
plan.
shit. I don't know. I feel like there's two answers. There'd be like the what would the literal one be, and what would you want your soundtrack to be? You know what I mean? Because like what you want it to be and what it might like in reality be would be like two totally different fucking things. I don't know. I feel like some like really low key lo-fi hip-hop shit would be like what I would like it to be, because it's just, you know, super chill, uses a lot of different influences from a lot of different genres, and it's something that you can kind of walk to. You know, you don't want literally just staying alive like you're John Travolta getting a strut on. You don't necessarily want to go that far, but you want to have something that you can step to a little bit anyway. So I think maybe something like that. God's plan. Get the fuck. God's plan is for you to take that shit here momentarily after I go to this end credit scene here and talk about our Patreon producers. ASMR. That's the soundtrack to Twitch's life.
Oh, that's gonna be my soundtrack real soon.
I can't believe you did that.
I didn't even get to talk about it. Next week we'll talk about it.
Oh my god. Let me just go over to the website here real quick. Technicalalpha.audio, by the way, is the website. And you should go there. All right. Well, big shocker here. Same folks. Jetrix, who has basically paid for my children's education at this point. Postal Panda and Chico.
Worried.
Yeah. And I was worried.
We got Jetrix, all right?
Jetrix is covering everything. I don't know what I'm worried about. Jetrix has got us. Derek P, Naily, Adam B, Jamaican J, Jorbach, Toad of Steel, and Matthew M. Thank you guys very, very much. I do want to mention something. You haven't seen Retroverses in a hot minute, and it's because I'll take the heat for that one. My life's been a fucking whirlwind for about 2 straight months now. So it didn't even cross my mind. I thought about it 2 weeks ago. I went, wait a minute. We haven't had Retroverses in quite some time.
Well, technically they were getting Shadow of Colossus.
Once every like 4 weeks they got an episode of that bad boy.
Yeah, I suppose.
But it will be making a comeback. Don't worry, we haven't forgotten about it. We'll blitz a few extra when we get back into it to kind of make up for lost time. But yeah, it'll be coming back. It hasn't disappeared.
Nope.
To just clarify. And I guess that's going to be it for this week, guys. Thank you so much for coming by. If you're here for the live show, thank you for stopping by as always. We appreciate it. If you're listening to us on the RSS feeds anywhere and everywhere, we also appreciate you. And YouTube, shout outs, and thank you for those who have been civil in the comment section, since, YouTube is the land of the peak of civility. we'll be seeing you guys next week. Is everyone here next week?
Yeah, it should be.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think Panic is currently, for wondering where Panic is, he's currently, I believe, at or en route to PAX.
Yeah, I think he's there. I
Yeah.
saw some tweets.
So he'll be
Usually
back.
I am, but I stayed home. So
Yeah. So he'll be back. We'll be back for a regularly scheduled podcast. Same time, same place. And when we do see you, or until we see you is what I meant to say, I need to go eat and go to bed. Have a good morning, afternoon, or evening, and we'll see you soon. Peace!